Chapter 3374. Now, everyone, follow me to carry out a secret mission. Temporarily enter my eternal divine tower to cultivate. When we arrive, I'll tell everyone what to do. After Yunyi had gathered everyone, Knight Sorrow didn't say anything to reminisce about the past. Instead, he directly gave orders to everyone. Naturally, he wouldn't bring more than 200 heavenly sovereigns to ambush the Lin clan's property. Therefore, he was prepared to put everyone into a spatial artifact and sneak into the Lin clan's territory to carry out a swift and decisive surprise attack. Being ambushed by Knight Sorrow and the rest with more than 200 heavenly sovereigns was definitely different from being ambushed by Jie Lin and a few dozen people. Looking at the Lin clan's map and carefully analyzing it, Knight Sorrow determined that it was impossible for the thousands of heavenly sovereigns to gather together for such a huge property. As long as they didn't attack the Lin clan's headquarters, they wouldn't encounter any excessive problems. Yes. Peak Master. After receiving Knight Sorrow's orders, everyone, including Yunyi, instantly got ready. Not a single person had any objections. After all, everyone present knew that Knight Sorrow was the backbone of Night Demon Peak. Very good. Xiaowu, take everyone into the tower. Let everyone adjust to their best condition. Everyone, including the cultivators from the two realms, got ready. Knight Sorrow agreed and let the Eternal Divine Tower take everyone into it. Then, with Yunye's help, he gathered all the cultivators below the Heavenly Sovereign level and put them into the Eternal Divine Tower, allowing them to cultivate peacefully inside. He didn't want these people to suffer when the rear of Night Demon Peak was empty after they left. Before leaving, Knight Sorrow glanced at Night Demon Peak and said to Yunyi, "If nothing unexpected happens, Night Demon Peak will completely cease to exist in less than a year. Looks like Brother Yi is preparing to do something big." A trace of a smile appeared on Yunye's face. However, there was a faint trace of worry between his brows. Seeing Yunye's worry, Knight Sorrow summoned Yan Hongmei, the Barbarian King, and the Green Leopard from the Space Grotto Heaven. "Don't worry, Brother Yunyi. As long as we don't officially attack the Lin clan's headquarters, we won't encounter any difficulties." This wasn't blind confidence. These three friends of mine are all half-step Supreme Realm experts. What? We actually have three such powerful helpers? Yunyi was pleasantly surprised when he saw Yan Hongmei, Barbarian King, and Azure Leopard. He had never imagined that Knight Sorrow, who had been exiled to the Mass Burial Star region for more than 200 years, would return with three powerful reinforcements. Haha! What kind of strong reinforcements are we? If we really fight, I'm afraid Boss Night Demon alone can kill all three of us. You might not know this, but he personally defeated an expert at the 4th rank of the Quasi-Supreme Realm in the Mass Burial Starfield. After Yunyi finished speaking, the Barbarian King said with a smile. Then, he, Qingbao and the others introduced themselves to Yunyi. Knowing that Knight Sorrow was now able to contend with a 4th stage half-step to the Supreme Realm, Yunyi was simply speechless. Seeing Yunyi's shocked expression, Knight Sorrow said telepathically, "Actually, it's because of the power of merit. If I were to fight against an ordinary 4th stage cultivator, I would definitely be no match for him. Even if I were to fight against a 3rd stage Starlord of the Middle Academy, it would still be very difficult. That's already impressive enough. I remember that before you left, you had a hard time fighting against a 2nd stage Suzhitian." Yunyi praised him telepathically. Suzhitian is different from ordinary 2nd stage Starlords. Those above him are the same. You can't judge them with ordinary eyes. In my opinion, if I were to fight against Suzhitian again, would definitely not lose, but it would be impossible for me to win easily. Knight Sorrow recalled his battle with Suzhitian and said with certainty. Many geniuses of the geniuses had gathered in the Middle Academy, so much so that Jie Lin and Huang Ji seemed mediocre. Sigh. The geniuses of the Middle Academy are all so terrifying. He wondered how powerful the elders and grand elders of the academy would be. How powerful are the three supreme supremes? After calculating the strength of the Lu Tian Academy, Yunyi couldn't help but sigh. Obviously, the experts of the Lu Tian Academy were only the tip of the iceberg. However, even the tip of the iceberg was much stronger than the cultivators of the Eternal Supreme World and the Eternal Ancient Desolate World. In other words, they were much stronger than any other forces. Those below the Supreme Supremes are all ants. In the end, we still have to look at the top combat strength. Seeing that Yunyi was somewhat pessimistic, Night Sorrow immediately comforted him. At the same time, he also began to study the map of the Lin clan while flying. In the end, he chose the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion as his target. The Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion was an important place for the Lin clan to forge and sell divine weapons. It had a rich reserve of resources and was usually guarded by some of the most powerful blacksmiths of the Lin clan. Is it risky to choose the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion? At this moment, Yan Hongmei looked at the map and said. The Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion was located in the central area of the Lin clan. It was only half a month's journey from the Lin clan's main camp. I want to make a move and make a show of strength. An ordinary place is not interesting. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice. At this moment, he had already come out of the Eternal Divine Tower and was using his speed to fly with everyone. I understand. You are trying to attract the attention of the Lin clan so that they have no time to care about Jie Lin and the others. At this moment, Yunyi saw through Night Sorrow's intentions. Something like that. At the same time, it is also to make the Lin clan panic. It is like scratching an itch. It is not interesting at all. Night Sorrow looked into the distance and said. They relied on flying here. It would take about 5 years to reach the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion. Therefore, his first destination was Mushui City, which was 7 days away. He was prepared to use the teleportation formation in Mushui City to complete the teleportation and quickly reach the central area of the Lin clan. However, just as he entered Mushui City, he found that the teleportation formation in the city had been sealed and no one was allowed to use it. Obviously, this was because of Jie Lin and the others. Now that the teleportation formation is sealed, what should we do? If we act rashly, we will alert the enemy, right? Yunyi looked at the situation in front of him and said gloomily. At this moment, the barbarian king laughed and said, ha ha ha. It is just a few heavenly sovereigns. It is not that difficult. Boss Night Demon, let me out. I will settle the teleportation formation. Okay. It is best not to be discovered by anyone. Night Sorrow said as he summoned him out. Don't worry. These heavenly sovereigns will not be able to cause any trouble in my hands. The barbarian king said with certainty. He took out a colorless and odorless liquid and threw it into the sky. Soon, it started to rain in Mushui City. Chapter 3375. What kind of technique is this? Yunyi asked curiously when he saw that the barbarian king had summoned a downpour. Summoning wind and rain is just a small trick. The important thing is that although the rainwater is colorless and odorless, it can make cultivators below the half-step to Supreme Realm fall into the illusion brought about by the rainwater. We only need to wait for 15 minutes and we can safely use the teleportation formation. After the heavy rain fell, the barbarian king explained. He was somewhat proud of himself. Night Sorrow looked at it with the sea serpent's eye and praised, well done, the illusion is indeed forming. I can't be compared to Lord Night Demon. The barbarian king was very humble in front of Night Sorrow. He stopped talking and waited for the illusion to form with the others. After 15 minutes, the barbarian king smiled and said, It's time, let's go. No hurry. At this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly said coldly. Oh. What's wrong? The barbarian king was puzzled when he heard this. A half-step to Supreme Realm Cultivator has discovered us. As Night Sorrow said this, he looked in a direction and said, "Come out. You've discovered me." After Night Sorrow said this, a female cultivator appeared from the void in the distance. "Are you from the Lin clan?" Night Sorrow asked coldly as he sized up the female cultivator with the sea serpent's eye. The female cultivator was a half-step to Supreme Realm Level 2, but her strength was not inferior to the barbarian king. She was about the same as Yan Hongmei and Qing Bao in the space. "I'm from the Lu Tian Academy and have nothing to do with the Lin clan." As the female cultivator replied, she looked warily at Night Sorrow and the barbarian king. As for the others, they were in Night Sorrow's space and did not appear, so she could not sense them. Compared to Night Sorrow, she was more afraid of the barbarian king. After all, Night Sorrow's cultivation was only at the level of a middle heavenly sovereign, while King Man was at the level of a half-step to the Supreme Realm. At this time, the barbarian king looked at the female cultivator and saw that her strength should be about the same as his. He sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow, "Lord Night Demon, my raindrop illusion can only last for 15 minutes. Let's quickly take him down, and no one else will know that we used the teleportation array." "You don't have to do it." Night Sorrow replied telepathically. Then, he looked at the female cultivator and said, "We can't expose the fact that we used the teleportation array. Make a heavenly oath and swear that if you don't tell anyone about this, I'll let you go. You're just a heavenly sovereign." "How arrogant." Hearing this, the female cultivator immediately shouted angrily. If it was the barbarian king who said this, she could consider giving him some face. "Female cultivator, you don't know what's good for you. Are you forcing us to attack?" The female cultivator obviously looked down on Night Sorrow, causing the barbarian king to immediately become furious. "Oh. You're his servant, and he's a disciple of a big family." After the barbarian king spoke, the female cultivator immediately saw a clue. "Cut the crap. Do what I tell you to do. Otherwise, you'll bring disaster upon yourself." After all, his means could only last for 15 minutes. The barbarian king didn't want to talk nonsense with the female cultivator at all. And the female cultivator had a stubborn personality. After being scolded by the barbarian king, she immediately said angrily, "Bring disaster upon myself. I'd like to see what abilities you master and servant have." After saying that, she took out a 9-section whip made of the spines of 9 types of rare birds and beasts. She whipped it toward the barbarian king. "How dare you take the initiative to attack? You're courting death." Seeing that the female cultivator took the initiative to attack, the barbarian king roared and prepared to attack. At this moment, Night Sorrow said, "Her target is me. You can't keep up with her speed." Then, he cast a divine essence trapping array at the female cultivator. He temporarily trapped her in it and then shot out the extreme flame mother gun. He said, "Judging from your cultivation aura, you should be from the endless sea of stars. You're a genius of the middle court, right? This time, I won't attack you, but you have to swear immediately." At this moment, although his cultivation was only at the middle heavenly supreme level, after absorbing the energy of the Ice Saint King, his strength had increased a lot. Although the extreme flame mother gun didn't hit the array, it made the female cultivator's expression change instantly. Although the female cultivator felt that Night Sorrow's attack wouldn't kill her, if Night Sorrow and the barbarian king attacked together, she definitely wouldn't be able to defeat them. After thinking for a while, she looked at Night Sorrow angrily and said, "This time, you have the advantage in numbers. I, Yun Qingxian, admit defeat. The next time we meet, there will be a battle between us. Do you dare to tell me your name?" "Night Demon." Night Sorrow looked at the female cultivator and said, "You're the Night Demon. You've come out of the disorderly burial star region. Yun Qingxian immediately asked when she heard Night Sorrow say the name Night Demon. Don't waste time. Swear a heavenly oath. At this moment, the barbarian king said angrily. If they delayed any longer, the duration of his illusion array would be over. Okay. I swear a heavenly oath that I won't tell anyone about what happened today. Yun Qingxian said and swore a heavenly oath. Let's go. After Yun Qingxian swore, Night Sorrow immediately looked at the barbarian king and said. Then, the two ignored Yun Qingxian and used the teleportation array to leave. After Night Sorrow and the barbarian king left, Yun Qingxian said angrily, the next time we meet in the endless sea of stars, I'll teach you a lesson. As one of the prodigies of the endless sea of stars, it was the first time she had been treated so indifferently. Naturally, she was very unhappy. Night Sorrow naturally didn't know about this. After he and the barbarian king teleported away from Mushui City, they used the same method to teleport continuously. Finally, after 7 days, they arrived at the periphery of the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion. Although the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion used the word pavilion, from afar, it occupied an entire mountain peak. On this mountain peak, there were a large number of pavilions located above the clouds. From afar, it looked like an immortal cave. However, Night Sorrow knew that these were all illusions. Therefore, he said, the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion is covered by an array. If we enter from the main entrance, we will enter a chain array. That will be very dangerous. If we want to launch a surprise attack, we need to break the array first. After saying that, Night Sorrow once again put the barbarian king into the space. He summoned the restriction-breaking hammers and asked, do you have the ability to break the array in front of you without anyone noticing? The other party's array is very strong, but given enough time, we should be able to break it. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammers said and began to attack the female hammer. Night Sorrow set up a concealment array for them. This was because the location they chose was very remote, and the guests who came to the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion could enter from the front. The people of the Lin clan did not expect that someone would break the array from the side. The restriction-breaking hammers broke the array very smoothly. It took about a day to break the array of the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion. Then, Night Sorrow led the people in the space and Eternal Divine Tower into the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion. Chapter 3376. When they first entered, Night Sorrow did not let everyone out. Instead, he started to investigate the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion alone. After he figured out the distribution of the people here, in a restricted area of the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion, he transmitted his voice to everyone, we are currently in the Lin clan's Divine Weapon Pavilion. After investigation, there are no half-step Supreme Realm experts guarding this place. There are only over 100 heavenly sovereigns. After I release you, everyone quickly exterminate this property of the Lin clan. After exterminating it, we will go to the next place. The goal is to exterminate all the properties of the Lin clan except for their headquarters. So this time, we're attacking the Lin clan. Great, this is great. We have tolerated them for a long time. That's right. The Lin clan has been bullying us. Finally, we can fight back. Night Demon Peak Master is mighty. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, they finally understood what the mission was this time. They were still quite excited. After all, the Lin clan was a colossus. They had launched several sneak attacks on Night Demon Peak, but Night Demon Peak did not respond on a large scale. Now that Night Sorrow had returned, it was obvious that he was preparing for a big battle. This made them feel very good. We have enmity with the Lin clan. But today, there is a rule. First, kill or capture heavenly sovereigns. If cultivators below heavenly sovereign do not resist fiercely, we will not kill them. Second, take away all the resources of the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion as long as you find them. Third, although there are many resources here, they are nothing. Don't risk your lives for resources. Understand? Before summoning everyone out of the Eternal Divine Tower, Night Sorrow instructed. Night Demon Peak only had over 240 heavenly sovereigns. The number could not be compared to the Lin clan at all. They could not afford to be exhausted. Yes. Peak Master. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, someone immediately responded. Very good. Remember my words. Kill. After mobilizing everyone, Night Sorrow released everyone. Suddenly, he launched a sneak attack on the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion, which was completely unaware. Not good. Alert, someone is attacking the divine weapon pavilion. After Night Sorrow and the rest made their move, the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion quickly became chaotic. After the chaos, many cultivators who came to the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion to purchase divine weapons all fled the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion. Only the Lin clan's cultivators remained, and they began to fight to protect the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion. However, none of them were at the half-step to the supreme stage. How could they possibly be a match for Night Sorrow and the others? In fact, Night Sorrow did not even summon Yan Hongmei, the barbarian king, or the green leopard. He had directly crushed the cultivators of the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion. Under such a powerful suppression, only a few of the cultivators under Yi Shang's command were injured. None of them died. After they had killed all the heavenly sovereigns in the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion and chased away the earthly sovereigns and some servants, they immediately began to search for various resources and artifacts in the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion. The Lin clan was rich and imposing. In the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion, there were thousands of heavenly sovereign-level divine weapons and defensive divine weapons. The heavenly sovereigns of the Night Demon Peak used these resources to arm themselves from head to toe. Very good. The Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion can increase everyone's combat power by 30%. Looking at the people who had come alone but were now fully armed, Night Sorrow's face instantly broke into a smile. The situation before him was something he had thought of before he took action. Relatively speaking, the resources of the Night Demon Peak were limited. Naturally, it was impossible to provide everyone with heavenly sovereign battle armor, divine weapons, and secret treasures. Now that everyone was fully armed, they looked completely different from before. The Peak Master is mighty. The Peak Master is mighty. The Peak Master is mighty. Almost none of the people from the Night Demon Peak returned empty-handed. Naturally, they were very happy. The Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion has been destroyed. Our next target is the Lin clan's heavenly elixir peak. As for what the goal is, you should know. We already have divine weapons. Let's replenish some elixirs. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he led the group to the Lin clan's heavenly elixir peak. Their whereabouts had been exposed and reported to the head of the Lin clan. However, the Lin clan's heavenly elixir peak was only a 3-day journey from the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion. By the time the Lin clan sent out a large number of people, it was already too late to stop Night Sorrow and the rest. In less than 6 hours, Night Sorrow led the group to destroy the Lin clan's heavenly elixir peak, completely flattening the Lin clan's sacred place for refining elixirs. Bastard! Who is so daring to openly launch an attack on my Lin clan? Is it Jiao Lin and the rest? They learned that the Lin clan's divine weapon pavilion and the Lin clan's heavenly elixir peak were both destroyed in a short 3 days. Moreover, 20% of the clan's divine weapons and elixirs were all snatched away. The Lin clan's clan leader and elders were all furious. Clan leader, according to the witnesses, the one who attacked this time was not Jiao Lin and the rest from the Lu Tian Academy. The leader is the Peak Master of the Night Demon Peak, Night Demon. one of the elders immediately said when he saw the clan leader's rage. Night Demon Peak's Peak Master, Night Demon. Wasn't he exiled to the mass burial divine region? Could he have escaped? The Lin clan's new clan leader, Lin Xiao, questioned angrily when he heard the news of Night Sorrow's appearance. He had advanced to half-step to Supreme Realm more than 100 years ago and took over the position of clan leader of the Lin clan. He did not expect such a thing to happen right before his eyes after only 100 years. Elder Lin Dongming replied, "From the portrait, it's indeed Night Demon. He must have escaped from the mass burial star region. We should have ignored the Lu Tian Academy and destroyed the Night Demon Peak directly." Lin Xiao said regretfully when he heard Lin Dongming's words. He then continued, "Wait here. I'll get father and the rest to come out of the mountain. Come with me to annihilate the people from the Night Demon Peak. Go to the Lu Tian Academy and invite all of our connections in the academy." He knew that Night Sorrow was not easy to deal with, so he did not have the confidence to fight with his own strength. Therefore, he went to invite the family's resources directly. "Yes. Clan leader." Lin Dongming responded and left the Lin clan. He went to the Lu Tian Academy to invite the family to invite people from the Lu Tian Academy. Their clan had a huge business. Through thousands of years of operations, they had connections with many students and elders in the Lu Tian Academy. While they were organizing their manpower, Night Sorrow led the people from the Night Demon Peak to destroy all of the Lin clan's mines. Including the mine where they obtained the extreme flame phoenix gold, all of the Lin clan's mines had been destroyed. After destroying the mines, Night Sorrow began to lead people to clear out the various forces in the Lin clan. In an instant, the entire Lin clan was turned upside down. Such a huge commotion immediately shook the entire foggy area. Chapter 3377. No one would have thought that the foggy area, which had been peaceful for so long, would erupt with such a huge commotion. While the Lin clan was in a terrible state, the other major forces and the Lu Tian Academy were also paying attention to the development of the situation. The Lu Tian Academy originally wanted the Star Lords in the Endless Sea of Stars to deal with the major families and completely control the foggy area in their hands. But now, before the Academy had even given the order, Night Sorrow had already led his men to attack the Lin clan. This made Andrew and Nan Gongha very dissatisfied. They felt that what he did was alerting the enemy and were preparing to punish Night Sorrow for his crimes. However, now that Night Sorrow was not in the Lu Tian Academy, they had no intention of making a move for the time being. Like the others, they chose to wait and see. As for the Lin clan, in the month after Night Sorrow had attacked and destroyed some of their outer forces, they had completely gathered their forces. Including the forces they summoned and those they invited from the Lu Tian Academy, they had gathered a total of 5 half-step Supreme Realm experts. In addition, they had formed a team of 1,500 heavenly sovereigns. They continued to search for traces of Yi Shang and his team within the Lin clan's territory. While they were searching, Night Sorrow kept everyone in the Eternal Divine Tower and used the pills and cultivation resources he had obtained from the Lin clan to crazily increase his strength. He himself had been searching for the whereabouts of Jia Lin and the others. However, after carefully searching all the Lin clan's territory, he did not find anything. Night Sorrow speculated that Jia Lin and the others should have left the Lin clan's territory, so he gave up on searching and found a forest overflowing with spiritual energy to cultivate the fog-breathing technique. "Lord Night Demon, what should we do next?" After Night Sorrow had cultivated for a few days, Green Leopard, who was in the Eternal Divine Tower, suddenly asked. In his heart, he had a great hatred for Andrew. He hoped to quickly increase his strength and destroy him. Therefore, he felt that it was a waste of time. Night Sorrow, who could guess Green Leopard's thoughts, replied, "I will cultivate the fog-breathing technique for a few days and then bring you to a place. When we return from that place, it will be the time for us to destroy the Lin clan." The Lin clan has been accumulating for tens of millions of years. They shouldn't be easy to deal with, right? We can still fight guerrilla warfare now. If we fight head-on, I'm afraid we won't be able to gain any advantage. Qin Bao said worriedly. It's all right. I have an idea. After saying this, Night Sorrow returned to the mountain that was only 5 days away from the Lin clan's headquarters and continued to practice the fog breathing technique. After cultivating for about a month, his fog breathing technique had officially reached the 8th stage. Now, even if he casually used the power of virtue, he would not be discovered by opponents who were half a step into the supreme realm. However, if he didn't want to expose himself in front of a Lammeter, he would have to reach the 10th level. This Lin clan actually didn't even search under their noses. After reaching the 8th level, Night Sorrow smiled and stood up. Then, he transmitted his voice to Qin Bao and the others. Now, I can change my aura at will. Even if the Lin clan sees me, they shouldn't be able to see through my identity. We can leave now. Where to? Yunyi asked doubtfully. Let's go to where Ape Tianlia's clan is. Jiao Lin, Ape Tianlai, and the others are no longer in the Lin clan's territory. It's very likely that they're hiding. The most likely place is Ape Tianlia's clan. That's because everyone knows Jiao Lin but not Ape Tianlai. Night Sorrow voiced his judgment. Although no one left any clues for him, he felt that his speculation was close. If Ape Tianlia's clan was not there, then they could be in Jiao Lin's or Hasso Lady's clan. It should not be far from those few options. When he heard Night Sorrow's words, Yunyi suddenly felt that his thoughts were a little wild. He transmitted his voice. Why do I feel that this speculation is a little unreliable? After all, you haven't appeared for 200 to 300 years. I think it's quite reliable. They can no longer withstand the attacks of others in Lu Tian Academy and can only choose to leave. After leaving, they can only attack the Lin clan on a small scale. Now that they're leaving, they can only choose to go to a safe place. There are no more than 3 places they can go. Night Sorrow said with certainty and did not say anything else. He headed straight to where Ape Tianlia's clan was. Along the way, he met a few spies from the Lin clan. However, with the help of the sea serpent's eye, he killed all of them. As for the Lin clan's large-scale troops, he did not encounter any. After leaving the Lin clan's territory, Night Sorrow used the teleportation portal and started heading towards Ape Tianlia's hometown. He had been gone for more than 3 years. They only arrived at their destination on the 4th year. In the 2nd year after Night Sorrow left, his Night Demon Peak was razed to the ground by the furious Lin clan. They had some connections in Lu Tian Academy and Night Sorrow was nowhere to be seen. Naturally, they did not care about this matter. When Night Sorrow brought his men to where the Ape clan was, he reported and confirmed that Ape Tianlai had really brought Jiao Lin and the others here as guests. Soon, Night Sorrow was brought in by Ape Tianlai himself to be summoned by the clan leader. At this time, Jiao Lin, Dancing Lady, Shao Tianxian, Myriad Sword Sect, and the others were also accepting the clan leader's invitation. After seeing Night Sorrow, the Ape clan leader, Yuanmu, said a few words of courtesy and said in front of everyone, Tianlai has already told me about your situation. Our Ape clan is willing to fight for the eternal supreme world. Purify us. Oh. Clan leader, don't you need to think about it? Originally, Night Sorrow thought that it would take a tough battle to purify all the Ape clan. He did not expect that Ape Tianlai had already done it. He was pleasantly surprised. One of the purposes of his trip was to purify the Ape clan's experts and then bring them to launch the final attack on the Lin clan. Think about it. There's no need to think about it. Our clan did not want to enter the foggy area at all. We were forced to join back then. We've long wanted to purify ourselves and our souls. The Ape clan leader, Yuanmu, said without hesitation. All right. Then there's no time to lose. Let me purify everyone. Once I'm done, you can start cultivating the fog breathing technique. Since Ape Tianlai had done a good job, Night Sorrow was naturally prepared to cut the Gordian knot and finish it quickly. After speaking, he began to purify the ape clan. After using the power of merit to purify them, Night Sorrow realized that this clan did not only consist of the ape clan, but also the Star Ape clan and a dozen other ape clans. They were all captured by the three Supremes and brought to the foggy area when the Eternal Supreme World was destroyed. After finishing all this, Night Sorrow and the others briefly caught up. Then, he led the ape clan's experts, Jia Lin, and the others back to the Lin clan's territory. Chapter 3378. This time, the ape clan had more than 500 heavenly sovereigns in the team, and they even sent out 3 half-step to Supreme Realm. They had sent out almost 80% of the clan's strength. With their participation, Night Sorrow's goal was naturally to uproot the entire Lin clan. This time, he did not sneak into the Lin clan's territory like last time. Instead, he led the members of the ape clan and advanced towards the Lin clan's old nest in an imposing manner. While flying in the void, Jia Lin said embarrassedly, "My Jia Lin clan has a small population, and we like to travel, so there aren't many people in the clan. We shouldn't be of much help in this battle. The few of us are enough to deal with the Lin clan." Night Sorrow used the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe Jia Lin and found that she had advanced a half-step to Supreme Realm's 2nd stage. He immediately congratulated her. "We didn't have a chance to talk just now. Congratulations, your strength has advanced a half-step to Supreme Realm's 2nd stage. What kind of opportunity did you get to raise your strength so quickly?" "I didn't get any special resources. I just absorbed some essence of heaven and earth. I realized that the foggy area seems to be different from before. Essence of heaven and earth is often found, and many heavenly sovereigns have advanced a half-step to Supreme Realm in the past 100 years. Some half-step to Supreme Realm experts originally had a slow increase in strength. But in the past 100 years, it has changed." Jia Lin looked at Night Sorrow and continued, "Teacher Ji Xian has been stuck at half-step to Supreme Realm 4th stage for countless years. But when I left Lu Tian Academy, he told me that he had obtained a lot of essence and would soon advance to 5th stage. The same situation was happening to other people as well. If not for that, I'm afraid some of your friends wouldn't be able to advance to Heavenly Sovereign now. There have been changes in heaven and earth. I just returned, so it's not too obvious. But there are many half-step to Supreme Realm experts in front of us. I heard that 2 or 3 half-step to Supreme Realm experts in the Lin clan have advanced successfully recently." After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow said. At this moment, Jia Lin spoke again. "I have a feeling that this is not so simple, as if something big is going to happen. The foggy area has never been like this before. Let's take it one step at a time. Maybe the difficulty of cultivation will be lowered, and many people will climb the steps of the Supreme Realm. It's a good thing. What the people of the Eternal Supreme World and the Eternal Ancient Desolate World lacked the most was time." Night Sorrow felt that the sudden change in the fog was definitely a good thing for them. Perhaps this would allow him to break through to the Limiter state even faster. Maybe. Jia Lin replied and fell into deep thought. After that, Night Sorrow began to catch up with his friends. After all, they hadn't seen each other for 200 years. Amidst the joking atmosphere, a group of 700 to 800 people marched towards the Lin clan's territory in a grandiose manner. In the process of their journey, within the territory of the Lin clan, the new clan head of the Lin clan, Lin Xiao, was so angry that he nearly exploded because he couldn't find Night Sorrow. He even sent someone to Lu Tian Academy to challenge Night Sorrow. Furthermore, at the location of Night Demon Peak, he set up a memorial arch for the night demon cowardly child. It attracted a lot of people to watch. Seeing that the memorial archway was of no use, Lin Xiao began to let the people of the Lin clan sing operas near the memorial archway every day. The plot of the opera was naturally to smear Night Sorrow and Night Demon Peak. Furthermore, someone recorded the opera with an image stone and spread it throughout the fog. Soon, these image stones were sent to Night Sorrow, who was hurrying on his way. Seeing the contents of these image stones, Night Sorrow laughed instead of being angry. At that time, I was near the Lin clan's lair, so they didn't search carefully. Now that I've left, they're starting to do this nonsense. How laughable. Clearly, he didn't care about this matter at all. On the other hand, when Myriad Sword Sect, the barbarian king, and the others saw the contents of the image stones, they were all furious. To them, insulting Night Sorrow was provoking them. After thinking about it for about an entire day, Myriad Sword Sect said, "How about this, we enter the Eternal Divine Tower again, and you'll go alone and smash this stage. I'm sure it'll definitely attract the Lin clan's attention. Then, under the circumstances of luring the tiger away from the mountain, we'll directly destroy their lair." I didn't expect that after a few years, you'd also understand tactics. Hearing Myriad Sword Sect's words, Xiao Tianxian immediately laughed out loud. In the past, Myriad Sword Sect would choose to charge forward no matter what he encountered. Now, he knew how to turn. Perhaps this is because I taught him well. At this moment, Yuan Fengshu interrupted. Now that she was married to Myriad Sword Sect, because she had something to worry about, Myriad Sword Sect gradually became more stable. Haha. Of course, of course. Myriad Sword Sect looked at Yuan Fengshu and laughed. Then, he looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Brother Yi, what do you think of my idea?" "Alright, we'll do as you say and attack the Lin clan." To Night Sorrow, with so many helpers, he could deal with the Lin clan however he wanted. However, Myriad Sword Sect's idea would probably make the Lin clan the most unhappy, so he directly agreed to it. Then, he used the Eternal Divine Tower to store everyone and rushed directly to Night Devil Peak. When Night Sorrow arrived at Night Devil Peak, the raised Night Devil Peak had simply become a nearby scenic spot. After the Lin clan people started singing, it attracted countless people to watch. Because Night Sorrow changed his aura and appearance, standing in the middle of the crowd, he was not discovered by the Lin clan people. Standing below the stage and watching for a while, a trace of sullen anger immediately emerged on his face. Because not only did the Lin clan people insult him, they also insulted his parents. Damn it! A ruthless feeling flashed across Night Sorrow's heart, then he threw some blackthorn crystals on the stage. He said, "If you sing well, I'll buy you a coffin." "Who is it? How dare you act rashly in my Lin clan's territory?" After Yi Shang threw out the blackthorn crystals, the people standing beside him moved aside to make a path. Seeing Night Sorrow clearly, the Lin clan people immediately rebuked angrily. "People of the Lin clan, what big words. When did this Night Devil Peak become your Lin clan's territory?" As he spoke, Night Sorrow changed his appearance and aura back. He coldly looked at the people on the stage. "Night Devil. You're the Night Devil." After Night Sorrow changed his appearance and aura back, everyone who had seen his portrait recognized him. Hearing this name, some of the people who were watching the show all moved far away. The Lin clan people who were singing also retreated at the same time. They were all Earth Supremes and Sky Supremes, so they simply did not have the courage to confront Night Sorrow. Seeing the Lin clan people fleeing, Night Sorrow sneered and said, "You people of the Lin clan are a little different from the ones in the play. Go back and tell your master that since you seized my Night Devil Peak, I'll take away your Lin clan's territory." Chapter 3379. To Yi Shang, the earthly sovereigns and heavenly sovereigns before him were like ants. Although he was furious, he did not kill these people. Once they scattered, Yi Shang gazed at the crowd that was watching the show and said, "Everyone, isn't it time to disperse?" As he spoke, he released his powerful god domain. After being suppressed by a half-step paramount realm deity domain, the surrounding cultivators who had come to watch the show immediately apologized and dispersed. After that, Night Sorrow summoned a dozen sky sovereigns from the space grotto heaven and had them build a new Night Demon Peak. Very soon, pavilions and towers were built on the raised Night Demon Peak. It looked quite impressive. Night Sorrow set up a trapping array and an illusion array on the periphery of these pavilions. The trapping array was the 5 bulls array and some other array formations. As for the illusion array, one could see Night Sorrow leading hundreds of cultivators to set up defenses seriously and wait for battle. It looked like they were waiting for the Lin clan to attack. The Lin clan cultivators who did not escape far away saw the scene and did not suspect anything. They immediately reported the situation to clan leader Lin Xiao. Night Sorrow led people to set up everything. After changing his appearance and aura, he led the cultivators in the Eternal Divine Tower and left the area of Night Demon Peak, rushing toward the Lin clan's lair. Before leaving, he used the Sea Serpent's Eye to look at the illusion array. After confirming that even he could not see anything wrong with the illusion array and that the image stone here could transmit the scene nearby, he went to find the nearest teleportation array with peace of mind. He knew that the Lin clan was eyeing Night Demon Peak covetously. It was impossible for them to rush over through the most primitive flight. From the time they gathered their troops to the time they started attacking Night Demon Peak, they would appear here at most a day. Therefore, he had to arrive quickly. As it was not his first time going to the Lin clan's lair, Night Sorrow already knew the route. They teleported all the way to the Lin clan's lair. About a day later, they arrived near the Lin clan's lair and observed the situation on Night Demon Peak through the images transmitted by the image stone. While he was observing, he had the restriction-breaking hammer break through the formation set up by the Lin clan in a remote area. He was clear that the Lin clan was a great clan that had existed for tens of millions of years. Their array formation was definitely set up very meticulously. He needed to make a move in advance. At the same time, through observation, Night Sorrow discovered that there were many more spies in the periphery of Night Demon Peak. They should be investigating the situation in Night Demon Peak. After seeing the contents of the illusory array, these spies clearly believed it to be true, and very soon, they lured the people of the Lin clan over. Although he was observing through an image stone, Night Sorrow quickly discovered that the enemy had dispatched at least 4 half-step Supreme Class experts. He transmitted his voice to the people in the Eternal Divine Tower. They've sent out at least 4 half-step Supreme Realm experts. Their rear defenses must be empty. Let's begin. Kill these sons of bitches. After being summoned, Master Wan Jian said coldly. Just as he opened his mouth, Yuan Fengshu scolded him, "I just said that you've become more mature, and now you're acting like this again." Foo-foo. Master Wan Jian laughed instantly. After the brief interlude, Night Sorrow led the group and charged into the Lin clan's lair from the position where the restriction-breaking hammer broke the array formation. They launched a fierce attack. Almost at the same time, the people sent by the Lin clan to attack Night Demon Peak also took action. However, their first step was to break the array formation. By the time Night Sorrow and the others fought with the experts left behind by the Lin clan, the people attacking Night Demon Peak did not succeed in breaking the array formation. In a situation where their strength was unequal, the Lin clan instantly summoned all their foundations. The Lin clan that was rumored to only have 3 to 5 half-step Supreme Class experts actually summoned 9 half-step Supreme Class experts at the critical moment. This made Yi Shang and the others very surprised. Night Sorrow observed the 9 half-step Supreme Class experts that were summoned. He discovered that among these experts, one was at half-step Supreme Class level 4, 2 were at 3rd grade and 2 were at 2nd grade. The remaining 4 had just advanced to half-step supreme class. These people had a common characteristic, and that was that their auras were not very stable. Including the 4th grade elder, they should have advanced not long ago. As for the Heavenly Supreme Class cultivators, there were not many, only 500 of them. However, these 500 Heavenly Supremes were all at the upper Heavenly Supreme level. Moreover, their auras were not weak, and they also had combat strength. Junior, how dare you attack the ancestral land of the Lin clan? How bold! Since you're here, all of you will stay here today. Lin Hai, who was at half-step Supreme Class Level 4, was the ancestor of the Lin clan. Back then, he had followed Supremacy Destruction into battle and had not appeared in the world for a long time. On his body, there was a sinister viciousness that made people uncomfortable. Night Sorrow felt a little awkward being stared at. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow determined that this elder had an eye technique. That was why he felt that way. Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent eye and looked at the elder. He immediately forced the elder's gaze away. He said, "From today onwards, the name of the Lin clan will be removed from the fog area." Junior, how arrogant. Kill all the invaders for this old man. Lin Hai's gaze was forced away by Night Sorrow's sea serpent eye. He was furious and ordered coldly. "Let me see what kind of strength an old antique like you has. You guys deal with the others." Night Sorrow said to Jia Lin and the others while facing Lin Hai. On their side, Yan Hongmei, Qing Bao, Man Wang, and Jia Lin were all half-step Supreme Class experts. Their combat strength was not inferior to the other party. Even if they could not win against 8, they would definitely be able to hold on for a while. It would be fine as long as he could kill Lin Hai quickly. Ha! After the battle in the Eternal Supreme World, I have not fought again. It seems that the world has forgotten the name of Blood Azure Lin Hai. Lin Hai, who was facing Night Sorrow, gradually changed his aura. A blood-colored divine territory bloomed. Blood Azure Lin Hai. Then you have to die even more. Seeing Lin Hai's blood-colored divine territory, Night Sorrow's murderous intent intensified. Clearly, Lin Hai had once slaughtered in the Eternal Supreme World. He roared and activated the Tristram's secret combat technique and destruction divine ability. After raising his status, he shot the divine spear at his opponent. This was a probing attack. Night Sorrow did not expect it to be effective. Insignificant skill. Lin Hai saw the divine spear and showed a trace of disdain on his face. He waved his hand and summoned a blood-colored scythe and slashed at the Desolation War Halberd. Boom! The Desolation War Halberd spear light was shattered. Although you have just reached the 4th stage of half-step Supreme Class, your strength is indeed extraordinary. After seeing Lin Hai's performance, Night Sorrow had a certain understanding of his strength. Chapter 3380. The Crimson Scythe in Lin Hai's hand was at the level of half-step to Supreme Realm. Moreover, he was an old monster who had cultivated for millions of years. His strength should be second only to the 3 Vice Deans of Lu Tian Academy. Under normal circumstances, Yi Shan definitely wouldn't be a match for him. However, the problem was that the Crimson Scythe was a divine weapon and the power that he used was of the evil attribute. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow would be greatly strengthened by the power of merit. He made a judgment and felt that if he were to go all out with the power of merit, he should be able to put up a fight. After a rough calculation, Night Sorrow swung his golden heavenly halberd and destroyed the Crimson Scythe's attack. Top grade servant manga / Hehe. Junior, among the middle heavenly sovereigns, you should be in the top 5 since ancient times. However, you have not become a true expert. Prepare to die. I'll let you understand why I'm called Blood Azure Lin Hai. Seeing that Night Sorrow had destroyed the Crimson Scythe's attack, Lin Hai sneered. His body exploded with an even more intense crimson color. He looked as though he had been fished out from a sea of blood. Then, he controlled the crimson scythe and used a unique skill. Crimson Harvest. The crimson scythe suddenly shot towards Night Sorrow in the air. However, before the crimson scythe could get close, the crimson glow was already near Night Sorrow's neck. Facing the crimson glow from Lin Hai's crimson scythe, Night Sorrow did not take it head-on. Instead, he used the 9 defiant steps to put some distance between them. He waved his hand and used the Extreme Flame Mother Spear. One spear shot towards the crimson glow while the other shot towards the crimson scythe. After 2 loud collisions, the attacks from both sides were once again annihilated. What? Even the Crimson Harvest can't take care of an ant like you. Lin Hai saw that his unique skill was not able to take down Night Sorrow. Lin Hai had a new understanding of Night Sorrow's speed and strength. He instantly understood that Night Sorrow's strength was much stronger than he had expected. If there were no accidents, he should have many tricks up his sleeves. After thinking for a while, Lin Hai thought, this little bastard's strength is shocking. Looks like I'll have to use some of my true abilities. After thinking for a while, he activated the Crimson Robe on his body. The Crimson Robe's Grade 3 Half-Supreme Realm. Lin Hai then took out the Sky Crimson Scythe. He tossed the bell into the air and let it release a very pleasing sound. However, this bell was only for Yi Shang alone. The others present could not hear it at all. What Crimson Hai, Lin Hai's. After hearing the ringtone, Yi Shang instantly felt sleepy. He could barely keep his eyelids open. In the process of battle, if one's reaction was slow, they would be doomed eternally, not to mention falling asleep. At that moment, Night Sorrow unleashed his power of merit, allowing it to envelop him. He wanted to use it to disperse the effects of the bell. Crimson. When Night Sorrow used the power of merit, he realized that it had no effect on the ringtone. At this moment, Lin Hai, who had realized that Night Sorrow's status was affected by the bell, once again used the Crimson Scythe to perform a new unique skill. Azura 10,000 Ren. When this move was unleashed, the blood-colored scythe immediately formed thousands of shadows in the void. After tens of thousands of shadows appeared, they all shot towards Night Sorrow. Tens of thousands of blood scythes shot out, dyeing the entire void red. Fortunately, the battlefield was a little far from the others. Otherwise, none of the heavenly sovereigns would have been able to survive this attack. Night Devil, be careful. Jialin, who was the closest to them, was currently fighting 1 against 2. When he noticed Night Sorrow's situation, he immediately transmitted his voice. If she could get away, she would definitely have helped him. Don't worry, I can handle it. At this moment, Night Sorrow knew how critical his situation was. He immediately ignited his Phoenix Bloodline, Scale Bloodline, and Leaken Bloodline. After igniting the 3 bloodlines, he suddenly used the Gentle Dragon Roar to disperse the ringtone. Then, he used the 9 steps of the Defiant Heaven and put some distance between himself and the deep-sea roaming dragon. Then, he unleashed the Fiery Demon Spear towards the sky full of blood scythes. This time, the Inferno Demon Subduing Spear contained a dense amount of power of merit. When it came into contact with the blood scythes, it instantly incinerated them. Not long after, Lin Hai's attack was completely annihilated in the void. Blood Azura Lin Hai, your attack doesn't seem as terrifying as you described. It's your turn to receive my attack. At this moment, Night Sorrow roared loudly. He seized the opportunity to take out the Wuji Void Cauldron and stabilize the void. Then, he unleashed the Extreme Flame Mother Spear at Lin Hai. You used the same move against me twice. A junior will always be a junior. The attack methods you have are too simple. Although the Azura 10,000 Ren had been destroyed, Lin Hai didn't panic at all. As an old monster who had cultivated for countless years, he had many tricks up his sleeve and countless treasures on him. He didn't just have a copper bell. In the face of Knight Sorrow's extreme flame mother spear, he mocked him. Then, he took out a golden bell and propped up a golden light shield around his body. After the golden light shield appeared, mysterious runes rose continuously and flew into the void. On the surface, these runes didn't look like much. However, after they appeared, they all shot towards the golden heavenly halberd and the desolation war halberd. After being enveloped by these runes, the power of the extreme flame mother spear was reduced by half. Together with the golden light shield, Knight Sorrow's attack was neutralized just like that. Because of this, he didn't use the merit trap array that he wanted to create. Junior. Your attack can't even get close to me. You have to understand that time has created an insurmountable gap between you and me. Blood Azure Lin Hai said disdainfully. Then, he took out another secret treasure. This time, it was a statue. After he poured a few drops of blood into the statue, it grew in the void to the size of a normal person. Then, it came to life. Knight Sorrow observed it for a while and realized that it was a puppet with a human body and a dog head. It was a half-step to the Supreme Realm. Although it had a dog head, its fangs looked very evil. After summoning it, Lin Hai silently recited a few incantations. The puppet with a human body and a dog head was instantly activated. It pounced on Knight Sorrow crazily. A half-step to the Supreme Realm third stage is no threat to me. Facing a half-step to the Supreme Realm third stage puppet, Knight Sorrow didn't feel any pressure. As he created the Divine Vitality Trap Array, he used the 33 Tao words formula to slow down the puppet. Then, he suddenly used the Broken Void Palm and slapped the Broken Void Palm away. You have some skills. However, it's obvious that this is just a feint. Blood Azure Lin Hai laughed coldly. Then, he used an eye technique on Knight Sorrow. Blood Eyes of Affliction. Chapter 3381. As soon as the blood eyes of affliction appeared, a blood-red world appeared in Knight Sorrow's eyes. Immediately after, he felt his entire body being sucked into this blood-red world. Horrifying black blood flowed out from the surrounding void. Then, more and more blood corpses appeared and attacked him. He couldn't move at all in this blood-red world. He couldn't resist the blood corpses' attacks at all and was nibbled away bit by bit. Not long after, even the Blue Phoenix battle armor was taken off by the blood corpses. The feeling of being bitten made Knight Sorrow feel that he had entered a blood-red world. However, at this moment, a strong power of virtue rose around him. With the protection of the power of beneficence, Shaoqun stealthily allowed Yishan to regain his freedom of movement. This is an eye technique. It brought me into an illusion. Fortunately, this is a blood-red world with a strong evil aura. Otherwise, the power of virtue wouldn't be able to break it. The power of virtue automatically protected him and removed the effects of Lin Hai's eye technique. Yishan instantly rejoiced. Lin Hai's eye technique was still very strong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to trick him with the sea serpent's eye. At this moment, Lin Hai clearly didn't expect Knight Sorrow to be able to escape from the blood-red world in such a short time. He smiled proudly and said, "A junior is indeed a junior. You lack battle experience. Die. Today, all the people you've brought here will be turned into my food." Blood Scythe. As Lin Hai roared, he used a special technique called Crimson Scythe. However, he didn't use the scythe in his hand. Instead, he sent out a stream of blood energy. This blood energy transformed into a giant blood-red scythe, which suddenly slashed towards Yishan. This blood-red giant scythe was very big when it first appeared. However, when it got closer to Knight Sorrow, it suddenly became about the size of the golden heavenly halberd. It directly slashed at Knight Sorrow's neck. Lin Hai, you think too lightly of this battle. At this moment, Knight Sorrow suddenly broke free from his absent-minded state. Using his powerful frost energy, he directly froze Lin Hai's blood-red scythe half a foot away from his neck. After that, he had Little Five control the Eternal Divine Tower to absorb all of this blood chi and purify it. Little bastard, hand over my blood chi. Seeing his blood chi being directly absorbed, Lin Hai flew into a rage. Because this blood-red color was almost a third of his blood chi, and it was something he had accumulated over a few epochs. Compared to blood chi, you should be more concerned about your own life. Lin Hai had lost one-third of his blood-red color, and his aura had weakened significantly. Naturally, his strength was affected as well. Under such circumstances, Knight Sorrow, who had already ignited all of his bloodline power, could not help but tremble. Immediately, she unleashed an Ice-Fire Mother Spear at him. This move was something he developed based on the foundation of the Extreme Flame Mother Gun. It contained the surging power of fire and the terrifying power of ice. What a strong power of ice and fire! I'm afraid that this attack can easily kill a third-grade half-step Supreme Stage Cultivator. After the move was unleashed, Lin Hai's expression changed instantly. Lin Hai realized that the fire and ice contained in Knight Sorrow's move were extremely terrifying. Under the condition that his blood-red color was severely damaged, it was very difficult for him to block it with his own strength. Under such circumstances, he activated the Golden Bell again and unleashed the Golden Light Shield in an attempt to block it. You still want to use the same move? Knight Sorrow, who was facing Lin Hai, revealed a cold smile at this moment. Then, he unleashed the Merit Trap Array and the 66 words formula to imprison Lin Hai and the Golden Bell. Under the temporary suppression of the Golden Light Shield, the Ice-Fire Mother Spear struck Lin Hai's body violently. Boom! After being sent flying by the Ice-Fire Mother Spear, Lin Hai's upper body was instantly burned by flames, and his lower body was completely frozen. Under such circumstances, Knight Sorrow unleashed the Merit Trap Array and the God's Spear again. Instantly, the lower body was sent flying. Damn it! Little bastard, you deserve to die. Lin Hai instantly screamed in anger when his lower body was shattered. Then, the lower half of his body grew back at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, the newly grown lower body's chi and blood were much weaker. Clearly, he had used up a lot of chi and blood. At this moment, the flames on his body burned relentlessly. This kind of flame that was mainly composed of the phoenix fire and supplemented by other flames was still very terrifying when it burned. Not long after, it burned Lin Hai's dantian. He continuously used up his chi and blood to barely block it. At the same time, he roared, "Save me! Quickly attack that little bastard and save me!" At this point in the battle, Lin Hai understood that he was powerless and immediately began to cry for help. Cry for help. Why don't you think about who can save you now? Knight Sorrow sneered at Lin Hai, who was crying for help, and unleashed an ocular technique at him. He used an ordinary ocular technique to blind his eyes directly. Then, he used the golden heavenly halberd to shatter his dantian and destroy his godly soul before sending him into the eternal divine tower. The entire process took less than 5 breaths. At this moment, the other half-step to Supreme Realm experts of the Lin family had yet to make a move. When Lin Hai was absorbed into the Eternal Divine Tower, Knight Sorrow immediately sent a voice transmission. This Lin Hai has countless treasures on him. If you find anything useful, help me keep it. If it's ordinary, absorb it all. Okay. You can fight in peace. Hearing this, Xiaowu replied happily and began to use the power of the Eternal Divine Tower to check the treasures and resources on Lin Hai's body. After checking for a while, Xiaowu said in shock, "This Lin Hai, the resources on him are shocking. It's enough for you to break through to half-step to Supreme Realm." Oh. Are you sure it's not enough for me to break through to upper heavenly sovereign but half-step to supreme realm? When Xiaowu said this, Knight Sorrow, who was about to help, asked doubtfully. If I'm not wrong, it should be enough for you to break through to half-step to supreme realm. However, if you want to use these resources to break through to half-step to supreme realm, you will need time. Xiaowu said with certainty. Okay. I got it. Knight Sorrow responded and began the battle again. Before he joined, the battle was basically balanced, with both sides suffering casualties. However, the casualties were not too serious. After Knight Sorrow joined the battle, the half-step to Supreme Realm experts of the Lin clan began to fall one by one. Seeing the experts of the Lin clan and the invited experts being killed one after another, the heavenly sovereigns of the Lin clan were in a complete mess. With the addition of Knight Sorrow, Jiao Lin, and the rest, the cultivators of the Lin clan were all annihilated. At this moment, Knight Sorrow said, "If I'm not wrong, the team that the Lin clan sent to Night Demon Peak will be back soon. Let's set up the array and wait for them to come. After killing them, we will study the spoils of war." He gave the order and immediately started to set up the array. As for the others, they cleaned up the mess and waited for the next battle to arrive. Chapter 3382. The situation was similar to what Knight Sorrow had expected. As they had not been warned, the Lin clan cultivators who had come to support them quickly returned to their base. They had mistakenly entered the formation and encountered Knight Sorrow and the others, who had been waiting for them at ease. It was like a lamb entering a tiger's den. Even Lin Hai and the others were no match for them, let alone the cultivators. In less than 2 hours, these people were killed by Knight Sorrow, Jiao Lin, and the others. It was worth mentioning that 2 of the Lu Tian Academy's helpers were actually Su Zhitian's subordinates. They had met them before, but the 2 of them had left with Su Zhitian. "Su Zhitian, it seems like we have to settle our grudges in the future." After the battle ended, Knight Sorrow said to himself. He looked at the crowd and said, "Everyone, we took down the Lin clan not only for the cultivation resources. We also want their vast cultivation territory. From today onwards, everyone will integrate all their cultivation resources. Then, find a few suitable cultivation areas and build a training ground that belongs to us. From now on, this place completely belongs to us. Now, you are free to do whatever you want." What he meant was for everyone present to search for resources at their own will. Hearing this, everyone excitedly searched for all kinds of resources in the Lin clan's base. The remaining old, weak, and sick people of the Lin clan had been moved away by someone during the battle. Knight Sorrow was not too concerned about this. He felt that it would be troublesome if the other party's women and children were left behind. He could not kill them. If he did not kill them, there might be trouble in the future. Running away might be the best choice. While the crowd was searching for all kinds of resources, Knight Sorrow began to use the Sea Serpent's Eye and the restriction-breaking hammer to search for the Lin clan's treasury. He knew that a big family like the Lin clan, after so many years of accumulation, would definitely have unimaginable wealth. And the truth was just as he had predicted. When Knight Sorrow found the treasury, he was shocked by the accumulation in front of him. Not to mention the divine weapons and treasures, just the cultivation resources and elixirs alone were enough to equip thousands of heavenly sovereigns. This amount of resources was definitely not something that could be accumulated in a year or 2. At the very least, it would take tens of millions of years to slowly accumulate to such a degree. This was completely beyond everyone's expectations. In the following days, Knight Sorrow distributed these resources equally to all the cultivators who attacked the Lin clan. He wasn't stingy with anyone. This made the warriors of the Ape clan very happy. These resources were enough for them to become upper heavenly sovereigns. After distributing the resources, Knight Sorrow called Yunyi, Shao Tianxian, Myriad Sword Sect, Ape Tian Lai, and a dozen others together. Now, all of the Lin clan's territories have been taken over by us. However, it was easy to conquer an empire, but difficult to defend it. In the coming days, I will enter a state of cultivation and try to break through to a higher realm. You can discuss how to divide the Lin family's territories. I won't interfere. I think that the other forces won't dare to invade us for the time being. After all, the Lin clan's annihilation is right before their eyes. They shouldn't dare to challenge us. Therefore, everyone could peacefully allocate their territories. After entering the territory, quickly use the resources to increase your strength. What do you think? After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Yunyi opened his mouth to analyze. Xian Nian agreed and said, "We are very mysterious now. It should be difficult for the other forces to find out about us, so they won't act rashly. I think Yunye's arrangement is quite reasonable. However, we are weak when divided, and strong when gathered. We need to gather again in a few decades. This is to prevent some people from sneaking up on us one by one. What you said makes sense. Let's limit it to 30 years. I think the other forces or some students of the Lu Tian Academy won't act rashly so soon. However, after a few decades, they might not be honest." Night Sorrow nodded and continued, "I'm in a hurry to cultivate. You can discuss these things properly. As for Barbarian King, Qing Bao, Yan Hongmei, Jiao Lin, and the two half-step Supreme Realm Ape clan experts who didn't really fight this time, before I come out of seclusion, I hope you can take care of everyone. That's not a problem. Don't worry and go cultivate." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Jiao Lin promised. After that, the others agreed one after another, especially the two half-step Supreme Realm Ape clan experts. This time, they had received a lot of resources without fighting, so they felt a little embarrassed. Naturally, they agreed to Night Sorrow's request without hesitation. After settling the matters, Night Sorrow entered the Eternal Divine Tower. In the space that was 10 times larger than usual, he used the resources that Xiaowu had obtained from Lin Hai to cultivate. The resources that Lin Hai had accumulated were originally used to break through to the 5th stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. Night Sorrow used them to cultivate, and the speed at which his strength increased was still very fast. However, even with his extraordinary talent, he still spent more than 270 years in the space to successfully advance to the peak of the upper heavenly sovereign level. That meant that he was only a step away from the half-step Supreme Realm. As for the power of merit, although he had killed Lin Hai and converted it into power of merit this time, he was still at the peak of the upper heavenly sovereign level. However, he was still at the level of a middle heavenly sovereign and had yet to advance any further. After advancing to the peak of the upper heavenly sovereign level, Night Sorrow found a deserted desert, left the Eternal Divine Tower, and successfully passed the upper heavenly sovereign tribulation. After successfully passing the tribulation, he felt that his strength had increased by another step. His basic strength was almost at the 2nd or 3rd stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. When he unleashed his full strength, he could almost fight against a true 4th stage. After completing all this, there was still some time before the 30-year agreement. Night Sorrow re-entered the Eternal Divine Tower and studied the 100-word mantra. This time, he used more than 20 years to comprehend the 100-word mantra to the 99-word mantra. He was only one word away from true mastery. However, he could not understand the last word no matter how hard he thought about it, so he gave up. He returned to the Lin clan's old nest, which was the current center of the Night Devil territory, to meet Jiao Lin and the others. After seeing everyone, Night Sorrow, who was originally a little worried, immediately relaxed. This was because in these years, no one had attacked the Night Devil territory. There were no casualties in the Night Devil territory, and it was rapidly growing stronger. However, after everyone had gathered, Jiao Lin suddenly sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. "Teacher Ji Xian came to find you decades ago. At that time, you were in seclusion, and he did not disturb you. He left immediately. If you have time, can you go to the Lu Tian Academy to meet him? Oh. Teacher came to find me. Since there's nothing in the territory, I'll go to the Lu Tian Academy. After hearing Jiao Lin's words, Night Sorrow left the Night Devil territory and flew to the Lu Tian Academy. He wanted to quickly find out why Vice Dean Ji Xian was looking for him. Chapter 3383. After leaving Night Sorrow's territory, Night Sorrow quickly arrived at the Lu Tian Academy. When he saw Vice Dean Ji Xian, Night Sorrow greeted him and said, "I heard that you came looking for me a few years ago. When I learned that you destroyed the Lin clan, I went to look for you. But you were in seclusion, so I didn't disturb you. Judging from your aura, you have reached the peak of the upper heavenly supreme level. You should be able to reach the half step to the supreme level soon. Congratulations." Vice Dean Ji Xian congratulated Night Sorrow. Then he continued, "Actually, what I want to talk to you about is not urgent, but it is very important. Before the three Supreme Venerables recover, there will be a great opportunity in the Endless Star Sea." Great opportunity. Night Sorrow looked at Vice Dean Ji Xian in confusion. The so-called great opportunity is the resources to reach the supreme level. Due to the restrictions of the three Supreme Venerables, only the people from the Central Academy can participate in the competition. As for us Vice Deans, we have no chance to participate. I hope that you or the other cultivators I brought in can obtain the opportunity and successfully reach the supreme level. This will be considered as winning glory for me. Vice Dean Ji Xian looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Also, the people from the Central Academy can participate. There are no restrictions on the students or the elders. This is because the elders there were once students. Therefore, the competition will be very intense. There is such an opportunity. Why are the three Supreme Venerables so eager to nurture a new Supreme Venerables?" After hearing Vice Dean Ji Xian's words, Night Sorrow was surprised. Top grade servant comic / He was very confused as to why the three Supreme Venerables wanted to nurture a new Supreme Venerables. As for why the three Supreme Venerables want to nurture a new Supreme Venerables, I don't know, because this has never happened before. However, since they said that they want to nurture a new Supreme Venerables, the corresponding opportunity will naturally appear. Vice Dean Ji Xian explained and said, "In addition, after you made a move against the Lin clan, the students and elders of the other courtyards also started to make a move. The foggy area should be very chaotic in the near future. I suggest that you make good use of the time they are fighting and increase your strength at all costs. Prepare to welcome the arrival of the great opportunity." Is the fog zone already in chaos? How many forces had attacked those old forces? Generally, veteran forces would have their own trump cards, right? With just the students and elders of the middle school, I'm afraid it'll be difficult to eliminate them. Night Sorrow had been cultivating all these years, so he didn't pay much attention to these things. Upon hearing Vice Principal Ji Xian's words, he immediately asked. To be honest, he did not quite understand the Killer Academy's arrangement. According to his understanding of the Academy, it shouldn't be easy for them to swallow up all the old clans. Don't forget that behind the Central Courtyard students and elders, there are 3 vice-chancellors. In this battle, the students would definitely win. However, you should be the only one who doesn't need my help. Vice Principal Ji Xian said with relief. Then, he continued, "Do you know what it means to increase your strength at all costs?" "I don't really understand." Night Sorrow said. "As long as you can raise your strength, the Academy won't pursue anything you do." Vice Principal Ji Xian said with a smile. Oh. There was such a thing. If everyone is like this, wouldn't the entire foggy area be in chaos? Hearing Vice Principal Ji Xian's words, Night Sorrow was completely confused. He didn't quite understand why such an arrangement was made. It felt like the three Supremes were crazy. It's not just the foggy area. The Eternal Supreme World is also in chaos. A few years ago, the Eternal Supreme World was occupied by the heaven-deceiving foreign tribes. Now, there are hundreds of foreign tribes fighting there. The battle is even more intense than the foggy area. Vice Principal Ji Xian said with a smile when he heard Night Sorrow's words. Is all of this arranged by the three Supremes? What are the few of them trying to achieve? Hearing this, Night Sorrow asked in surprise again. I can't figure out what the three Supremes are thinking. But no matter what, it's necessary for you to raise your strength quickly. Strive to be the best in the future battles. Ji Xian said again. He took out a small tower from the space and handed it to Night Sorrow. If I'm not wrong, you really need this tower, right? Take it. This is. Night Sorrow took the small tower from Vice Principal Ji Xian and immediately realized that the tower was a part of the Eternal Divine Tower. However, he wasn't sure which level it was. At this time, Little Five said excitedly, this is the second level. The second level. Very good. Only 1, 3, 4 more levels are left. Gather them all, and you can become an extreme divine artifact again. Night Sorrow said happily when he heard Little Five's voice transmission. Yes. I didn't expect Vice Principal Ji Xian to be so considerate. It saves you from fighting for it. Little Five continued. Yes. Night Sorrow said to Little Five, then looked at Ji Xian and said, thank you, teacher. No need to thank me. I will do my best to pave the way for you. However, the other 2 towers are in the territory controlled by Andrew and Nangong Lotus. I can't help you get them. If you need them, you can only increase your strength and get them yourself. Ji Xian looked at Night Sorrow and said earnestly. At this moment, Night Sorrow even felt that Ji Xian was so kind that he didn't seem like someone from the fog area. At this time, Little Seven reminded him, Night Sorrow, don't forget the essence of the fog. I think he must be faking it. In the end, he must have bad intentions. I will pay attention. After Little Seven's reminder, Night Sorrow thought of their understanding of the fog when they first arrived. It was synonymous with slaughter and blood. In the fog area, battles happened all the time. Almost every moment, there were powerhouses falling. He instinctively woke up to everything in the fog area. Seeing that Night Sorrow was a little absent-minded, Ji Xian smiled and said, Are you still thinking about why the 3 Supreme Venerables want to nurture Supreme Realm powerhouses? Yes, I'm thinking about this. The main thing is that I can't figure out why the 3 Supreme Venerables don't provide resources for you to advance. Night Sorrow casually found an excuse and said. If you want to enter the Supreme Realm, you can't just rely on resources. The 3 of us don't have the talent to advance to the Supreme Realm. No matter how many resources we consume, it's useless. Now that I've advanced to the 5th stage of the Supreme Realm, it's already my limit. Ji Xian explained with a helpless smile. All right. Since that's the case, I'll take my leave first. Thank you, teacher, for your guidance. Night Sorrow felt that he had already asked what he needed to ask and had obtained the 2nd floor of the Eternal Divine Tower. There was no need to stay any longer. After saying that, he was sent out by Ji Xian's 2 boys. After Night Sorrow left, a black shadow suddenly appeared behind Ji Xian. He sneered and said, The one you found is not bad. He has the appearance of a Supreme Venerable. It can be considered a merit. Chapter 3384. Shadow, do you also think that he has the bearing of an extreme supremacy? Ji Xian looked at Shadow and asked with a fake smile. His expression was completely different from the kind one he had when facing Night Sorrow. It was as if he was a completely different person. Without a doubt. In my opinion, although his current cultivation level is the lowest, he's the one most likely to advance to the extreme state among the seeds. Shadow was wearing a pitch-black mask. When he said this, there was no trace of emotion in his voice. After he finished speaking, Ji Xian said coldly, in other words, he's the one most likely to become food for the three extreme supremacies. Yes. However, don't mention the matter of the three extreme supremacies nurturing extreme state experts to be devoured. If this gets out, it'll definitely cause panic. Shadow said coldly after Ji Xian finished speaking. Don't worry. Ji Xian said confidently and continued, the fog area needs blood and killing to support this matter. After so many years, it hasn't been exposed. Moreover, the fog aura is even stronger than before. This proves that we've done a good job. That's true. Compared to us fishermen, these fishes know too little. If they know that no matter how they struggle, they'll still be devoured in the end, I wonder what will happen? Shadow said with a cold smile, his words full of mockery. At this moment, Ji Xian frowned and said, if the three extreme supremacies can each devour a new extreme supremacy, the possibility of them killing Yan and Yan Hengshi will increase greatly. As long as they devour these two, one of them might advance to a new cultivation level. Then, they'll open the door to a new world. No one can be sure whether the new world exists or not. However, if there's a new world, I'll be the first to enter. Shadow said with some anticipation. Although Ji Xian did not say anything, his face was full of anticipation. Night Sorrow, who knew nothing about the conversation between the two, was already preparing to leave Killer Heaven Academy. However, just as he left Ji Xian's palace, before he could fly out of Killer Heaven Academy's gate, he was stopped by a figure. The person who stopped him was none other than Su Zhitian, who had some grudges with him. After leading his subordinates to stop Night Sorrow, Su Zhitian said with a fake smile, Night Demon, I trust you've been well since we last met. What do I have to do with you? What's the meaning of you stopping me? Night Sorrow glanced at Su Zhitian and said coldly. He did not have a good impression of the person in front of him. Not only had they fought before, but Su Zhitian's subordinates were also the Lin Lin's family members. A playful smile appeared on Su Zhitian's face when he heard Yi Shang's words. Night Demon, we're all sensible people, so I'll be direct. What does it have to do with you? Yi Shang stared coldly at Su Zhitian. At this moment, he no longer felt the same pressure when facing Su Zhitian. At that time, Su Zhitian even had the ability to kill him, but he didn't cherish it. As long as you admit it. Su Zhitian sneered at Night Sorrow. If you know what's good for you, hand over half of what you have. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave Lu Tian Academy today. Are you sure you have the guts and strength to make me unable to leave Lu Tian Academy? Night Sorrow asked disdainfully when he heard Su Zhitian's words. I've already investigated. You have nothing to do with the three supreme supremacies. Furthermore, the Academy doesn't care about the fights between students and elders. Your strength is no match for mine. If you don't hand over what you have, I'll kill you today. Su Zhitian said confidently. Ever since Night Sorrow had been exiled to the Mass Burial Star region, he had understood that Night Sorrow had nothing to do with the three supreme supremacies. If he had, he wouldn't have become a victim of the fight between the three vice-chancellors. After he finished speaking, Night Sorrow said with a smile, there's a saying that goes like this. We haven't seen each other in a few hundred years. Are you sure you have the strength to take me down? Your cultivation level has increased and you've reached the peak of the upper heavenly supreme level. However, I'm already a half step to the supreme level. The gap between us is even greater than it was back then. Su Zhitian said arrogantly. Therefore, I advise you to hand over what you have. I'm already giving you face by not taking your territory. I don't need a piece of trash like you to give me face. I can't possibly take down the Lin clan. Yi Shang had a disdainful smile on his face. Su Zetian had just reached the peak of the half-step to the supreme level. Even if he had outstanding talent, his strength would at most be on par with Lin Hai from the Lin clan. Now that he had reached the peak of the upper heavenly supreme level, his combat strength was much higher than when he had fought with Lin Hai. He was almost certain that he would win. Bastard! Master gave you face, but you didn't want it. Go to hell. Seeing that Knight Sorrow didn't take Su Zetian seriously, one of Su Zetian's subordinates attacked immediately. I don't even care about your master, let alone you. In the face of Su Zetian's attack, Yi Shang waved his hand and smashed it into dust. The whole process was so fast that Su Zetian didn't even have time to react. Seeing that Knight Sorrow was so powerful, Huang Jia, who was standing behind Su Zetian, said telepathically, Master, this Night Demon's strength seems to have increased a lot. We have to be careful. Although his strength has increased a lot, it's nothing compared to mine. Just watch. Su Zetian, who was extremely confident in his own strength, replied to Huang Jia and attacked Knight Sorrow with the Astral Void Fist. He had used this move against Knight Sorrow before. However, as his strength increased, the power of this move also increased. How many times are you going to use the same move? Knight Sorrow was speechless when he saw that Su Zetian had used the Astral Void Fist on him. At the same time, he activated the Traistrumsa Battle Mystic technique and the Destruction Mystic ability. After increasing his strength, he suddenly attacked Su Zetian with a Broken Void Palm. The Broken Void Palm and the Astral Void Fist collided. Su Zetian seemed to have turned into a meteor and was sent flying into the sky. At this moment, Knight Sorrow smiled and said, It seems that your strength isn't worthy of your confidence. Bastard! Su Zetian, who was originally full of confidence, was sent flying by Knight Sorrow. He had lost face in front of his subordinates. He couldn't hold on any longer. With a loud roar, he took out the Astral Void Spear and attacked Knight Sorrow with a spear technique. Astral Void Thousand Demon Spear. In an instant, countless demons appeared in the void. After these demons appeared, they all flew towards Knight Sorrow. Master, you're actually using your strongest technique. Seeing that Su Zetian had directly used his strongest technique, Huang Jia and the others were stunned. Chapter 3385. As a celestial lord, Huang Ji had submitted to Su Zetian because Su Zetian was one of the strongest celestial lords. He could definitely rank in the top 10. Even if the elders of the Endless Galaxy were included, he could rank in the top 30. In Baron Thorn's opinion, Su Zetian had the power to look down on all living beings and suppress him to the point of suffocation. At this moment, he saw Su Zetian use his most powerful technique, the Star Ruins Demon Spear, against Knight Sorrow. He immediately looked at Knight Sorrow in surprise. He wasn't stupid at all. He knew that Knight Sorrow must be extraordinary to receive such treatment from Su Zetian. The gap between them must have widened. This made him very depressed. A few hundred years ago, when he fought with Knight Sorrow, he was only slightly suppressed. Su Zetian's other subordinates weren't too familiar with Knight Sorrow. They lamented how a heavenly supreme who hadn't even reached the half-step supreme realm could send Su Zetian flying and force him to use his most powerful technique. They were amazed. Star Ruins Demon Spear. Knight Sorrow clearly felt some pressure when facing Su Zetian's technique. Every single one of those demons that filled the sky gave off a very strong feeling. He guessed that they were evil spirits summoned by Su Zetian from the Star Ruins, or the projections of demons. Although the strength of these demons couldn't be quantified, they gave off a very dangerous feeling. As they flew towards Knight Sorrow, some of them spat out flames, while others brandished their axes. Facing them, Knight Sorrow immediately summoned the power of merit to protect himself and activated the half-step Supreme Realm Green Phoenix armor. Holding the Golden Heavenly Halberd and the Desolation War Halberd, he shot out the Extreme Flame Demon Spear at the demons in the sky. The flames burned the demons in the sky. Although the flames weren't very aggressive, they contained a strong power of merit. The demons that were burned by the flames were instantly annihilated. Some of the demons that dodged the flames were continuously pierced by Knight Sorrow when they attacked him. In the end, Su Zhitian's so-called most powerful technique didn't have any effect on him. What? Master's strongest technique is of no threat to the Night Demon. Seeing Knight Sorrow easily receive Su Zhitian's attack, Baron Thorn became even more agitated. Su Zhitian's other subordinates were the same. The way they looked at Knight Sorrow had changed. Su Zhitian himself was still very calm. With a smile on his face, he looked at Knight Sorrow and said, "No wonder you are so confident. It looks like you do have some ability. You have no right to judge whether I'm capable or not." Knight Sorrow looked at Su Zhitian with the sea serpent eye and said. Then, he waved his hand and shot out the Extreme Flame Mother Gun. When the Extreme Flame Solo Mother Spear approached him, he used a combination of the Divine Energy Trapping Formation and the 100 Words Mantra to bind it. Su Zhitian, who was bound, had an ugly expression on his face. He said, "Your strength has indeed exceeded my expectations, but you will definitely die today." As he roared, he looked up to the sky and roared, "Star ruins descend." Boom! In an instant, countless meteors fell from the starry sky. They smashed towards Su Zhitian. As these meteors fell rapidly, they shattered the Divine Energy Trapping Formation and the runes that Knight Sorrow had set up. Then, they entered Su Zhitian's body one by one. His aura continued to expand. After a dozen breaths, Su Zhitian's aura had become close to the 4th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. After increasing his strength to such a level, Su Zhitian's body bloomed with endless starlight. At this moment, he squinted his eyes and said coldly, "You will die a worthy death if you can force me to use my ultimate battle form. You don't have the ability to kill me." Knight Sorrow, who was floating in the void, let the Golden Heavenly Halberd and the Desolation War Halberd float on his left and right. He started to burn his 3 bloodlines to increase his strength. He knew that he could not be careless when facing Su Zhitian. The strength that Su Zhitian had displayed was not inferior to Lin Hai, who was at his peak. He was even more threatening than Lin Hai. This was his battle instinct. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. The ignorant are truly fearless. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Su Zhitian suddenly laughed wildly. As he laughed wildly, he burned the power of the stars in his body, increasing his aura by several times. Then, he used a unique skill. Infinite Star Void Technique. This Infinite Star Void technique was different from the attacks that he had used before. After being used, it was completely invisible, colorless, odorless, and formless. However, Knight Sorrow clearly felt that danger was approaching. What's going on? While Knight Sorrow was pondering, he had a strong premonition that he did not want to see. At this moment, he had already opened the sea serpent's eye, but he could not see where Su Zhitian's attack was coming from. Naturally, he could not think of a way to break it. He could only secretly raise his defense. He set up the 100 Words Mantra and Divine Essence Trap Array around himself and summoned the Infinite Void Cauldron to suppress the void. Then, he summoned the Silver Dragon Void Shield that Ji Xian had given him to prepare to block the opponent's attack. Seeing Knight Sorrow's performance, Su Zhitian's face immediately revealed a disdainful smile. He sneered, "All the light in the world is starlight. It's everywhere. How can you block it? Let me tell you, even if you take out that ancient coffin from last time, you will still be killed in an instant today." Star Annihilation. After Su Zetian shouted the two words, star annihilation, all the light around Night Sorrow began to shatter. It formed wave after wave of explosions, bombarding the void with countless black holes. Although Night Sorrow's defense was amazing, he was still heavily injured after being hit by such an attack. However, unlike what Su Zetian had expected, he did not summon the ancient coffin to block it, and he was not killed in an instant. What? Infinite Star Void Technique, Star Annihilation. Even I can't kill you. Seeing that Night Sorrow was injured but not defeated, Su Zetian was surprised. However, he then silently chanted the spell again, preparing to use the second move of the Infinite Star Void Technique, Chaotic Stars. At this moment, Night Sorrow sneered, "Do you think I'm a wooden dummy who will not fight back after being attacked by you? In your dreams." After shouting, Night Sorrow shot the Icefire Motherchild Spear at Su Zetian. At the same time, he used the Divine Vitality Trap Array, Virtuous Virtue Trap Array, and the 99 Tao words to seal him within. Once the Icefire Motherchild Spear was used, everything around him, including the starlight and the void, was frozen. At the same time that everything was frozen, the terrifying flames burned again. Faced with these two extreme attacks, Su Zetian's body was shattered before he could even unleash his next move. Night Sorrow had been lying in wait, and when he used his strongest attack, it immediately had the effect of killing. What? Master was killed in an instant? How is this possible? This is absolutely impossible. Seeing that Night Sorrow killed Su Zetian in an instant, Huang Ji and the others were completely dumbfounded. Chapter 3386. They felt that even if Night Sorrow could defeat Su Zetian, it shouldn't have been like this. He had killed Su Zetian in one hit. This was simply a mental torture to them. They couldn't accept it at all. What do we do? Are we going to welcome death too? Huang Jia and Su Zetian's subordinates were restless at this moment. They didn't know what to do. They stood there in a daze. Fight against Night Sorrow. They knew they didn't have that ability. This night demon's strength is really extraordinary. I'm afraid this is the difference between Supreme Stage and non-Supreme Stage. Ji Xian, who had been watching the battle for a while, lamented. As someone who didn't have Supreme Stage aptitude, he felt sad. Look at what Night Demon is doing. At this moment, the shadow reminded him. Hearing this, Ji Xian immediately looked at Night Sorrow and realized that he was preparing his next attack. This is... Seeing that Night Sorrow had defeated Su Zetian and was still preparing his next attack, Ji Xian was puzzled. Although he didn't see through Night Sorrow's intention, he knew that he wasn't preparing such an attack to attack Huang Jia and the others. This was because Su Zetian's subordinates, including Huang Jia, didn't deserve such treatment. It's simple. This is because he sensed that Su Zetian hasn't completely fallen. The shadow said in a cold voice. What? Su Zetian hasn't completely fallen. Ji Xian was puzzled. Maybe this is the difference between Supreme Stage and non-Supreme Stage aptitude. You might not be able to sense it. However, Night Sorrow and I can sense that the shattered Su Zetian is being reborn at an extremely fast speed. The shadow explained coldly and continued, it seems that Su Zetian also has Supreme Stage aptitude. Is that so? Is that so? Ji Xian was a powerhouse who was half a step to Supreme Stage, but he couldn't sense that Su Zetian was regenerating. He immediately frowned and felt very uncomfortable. The truth was just as the shadow said. Su Zetian was indeed regenerating and Night Sorrow could sense it too. When he finished preparing his attack, Su Zetian's figure suddenly appeared in the starry sky. He was riding on a warhorse that was galloped by starlight and held the Star Ruin Spear in his hand. This spear carried with it an endless amount of starlight, as if it was going to hit all the light in the starry sky. Under the situation where the void darkened several times, it fiercely struck where Night Sorrow stood. "I've been waiting for you." In the face of Su Zhitian's attack, Night Sorrow roared and used the Icefire Mother-Child spears once more. Using the Golden Heavenly Halberd and the Desolate War Halberd, he unleashed an extremely fierce attack. When the attacks from both sides collided, the surrounding space was instantly shattered. Many mountains and pavilions in Lu Tian Academy were razed to the ground. SSS attacks. Yishan and Su Zhitian, who had been hit by this attack, both retreated 1,000 kilometers. Su Zhitian's T Night Sorrow's was not much better. He was barely standing in the void. Then, both sides did not stop and immediately launched the next round of attacks. In the battle, Night Sorrow's Liken's bloodline was much stronger than Su Zhitian's. Gradually, he gained the upper hand in the battle again. At this moment, Huang Ji, who saw that Su Zhitian was in a passive position, suddenly shouted, "Everyone, follow me. If we don't attack, Master will die again." Su Zhitian's reactivation had made them very excited. However, seeing Night Sorrow gain the upper hand again, they panicked. Naturally, they could no longer sit still. "Don't you realize the difference between us?" Seeing Huang Ji and the others attack, Night Sorrow scolded disdainfully. He waved his hand and used the void-shattering palm. Just this move alone caused Huang Ji and the others to be severely injured. After being sent flying, Huang Ji and Su Zhitian's other subordinates could not stand up again. At this moment, Night Sorrow summoned the Eternal Divine Tower and said, "Little Five, put them all in. Wait for my orders." "Okay, no problem." Little Five responded and continued, "That's right. We got a half-step Supreme Realm 3rd grade spear from Lin Hai. Do you need it?" "Not now. Wait until I take down Su Zhitian." Night Sorrow, who was fighting against Su Zhitian, was already at a disadvantage because he attacked Huang Ji and the others. Su Zhitian, who had revived, had already used the Star Ruin's Fatal Spear. This move was something he had comprehended when he was resurrected. It was much stronger than the moves he used before. Facing this move, Night Sorrow immediately used the 99 Tao Words formula and used the Divine Essence Trapping Array and the Virtuous Trapping Array. He also used the Silver Dragon Void Escape in front of him. Then, he used the Ice Fire Spear. This move was essentially the Divine Spear, but it contained the ice and fire attributes, so it was much stronger than the Divine Spear. Buzz! When Night Sorrow used the Ice Fire Spear, Su Zhitian's Star Ruin's Fatal Spear was already in place. After the two sides collided, Night Sorrow's Silver Dragon Void Escape was instantly shattered. The Divine Essence Trapping Array and the Virtuous Trapping Array were also instantly broken. As for the 99 Tao Words formula, the one used for defense did not have much effect either. Night Sorrow, who was supported by the Tao Words formula, clashed with Su Zhitian. He was once again evenly matched with Su Zhitian. Both sides retreated tens of thousands of miles. How is this possible? Even the Star Ruin's Fatal Spear, which I just comprehended, can't kill him. How am I supposed to fight him? He realized that the Star Ruin's Fatal Spear that he had just comprehended could not kill Night Sorrow, only severely injuring him. Su Zhitian's face was filled with disbelief. However, he did not lament too much. After recovering, he flew towards Night Sorrow's position. He wanted to take advantage of Night Sorrow's injury to continue inflicting heavy damage on him. Through the Nirvana earlier, he had already understood that he could resurrect infinitely. According to Su Zhitian's plan, as long as he continued to inflict heavy damage on Night Sorrow, he would be able to win. Night Sorrow, be careful. He seems to have the intention of perishing together with you to fight you. Little Five, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, immediately reminded Su Zetian when he saw Su Zetian's performance. I know. He lost this battle because he relied too much on his own resurrection ability. Knight Sorrow, who was facing Su Zetian, sent a voice transmission to Little Five and began to fight with his opponent again. After Su Zetian chose to sacrifice himself to injure his opponent, Knight Sorrow quickly gained the upper hand. Seeing that Su Zetian was about to be killed, he sent a voice transmission to Little Five. I can already tell that Su Zetian can resurrect, but this time, I won't give him the chance. When he is severely injured again and is about to die, put him into the Eternal Divine Tower. Chapter 3387. Alright. He thinks that he's invincible just because he can keep reviving. But he doesn't know that the Eternal Divine Tower can consign him to eternal damnation. Little Five replied confidently and began to wait for the right time to come. Not long after, Knight Sorrow dragged his injured body and severely injured Su Zetian again. He sent him flying with a single blow. Su Zetian, who was sent flying, even had a smile on his face. It was as if he did not care about his injuries at all. I wonder if you can still smile so confidently in a few breaths' time. Seeing Su Zetian's indifferent smile, Knight Sorrow laughed coldly and sent a telepathic message, Little Five. Do it. Alright, I've been ready. Little Five responded and controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to send the severely injured and defenseless Su Zetian into it. How can this be? How can this be? You're despicable. After being sent into the Eternal Divine Tower, Su Zetian was completely stunned. He did not expect Knight Sorrow to have such a trick up his sleeve. Despicable. Is it not despicable to let you revive endlessly and become stronger to kill me? After sending Su Zetian into the Eternal Divine Tower, Knight Sorrow immediately sent a telepathic message. Then, he said, I know that you can revive endlessly because of the star ruins. Hand it over and I can spare your life. You want my star ruins treasure. Dream on. Hearing this, Su Zetian immediately said in disdain. All right. In that case, you can live in the Eternal Divine Tower forever. Little Five, seal him in a space where only one person can stand. If he shrinks, you shrink the space. Knight Sorrow knew that Su Zetian was not that easy to deal with and immediately handed the task to Little Five. He also told Little Five that he must not let him die. Don't worry. Once he enters the Eternal Divine Tower, his life and death will be controlled by us. It's impossible for him to die even if he wants to. Little Five promised. All right. I'm relieved to hear that. Sigh, if I'm not wrong, this Su Zetian has the aura of the Supreme Realm. He's the type that I'm looking for Senior Chongqing. Unfortunately, Senior Chongqing has already passed away. After Knight Sorrow lamented, he sensed the people around him. There were still a lot of people watching the battle. There were about a dozen of them. This included the 3 vice deans. What made him feel astonished was that there seemed to be very terrifying existences by the side of these 3 great vice deans. As for these people, he only sensed them briefly before withdrawing his god's soul. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Little Seven comforted him, Knight Sorrow, you don't have to be sad. I think supreme longevity is extraordinary. He shouldn't die so easily. Who knows, he might appear in front of us one day. I hope so. Let's get out of here. Knight Sorrow knew that there were some people in Lu Tian Academy with unfathomable strength. He immediately flew out of the academy. He planned to find a place to purify the 2nd floor of the Eternal Divine Tower. When Knight Sorrow's figure flew far away, Shadow looked at Ji Xian and said, Night Demon has very strong perception. He just discovered my existence. This Night Demon seems to be very talented in all aspects. He doesn't have any obvious shortcomings. I hope he can become food for those few people. I'll be recorded as a meritorious deed. Ji Xian smiled as he looked in the direction Yi Xiang had left. To him, the better Knight's sorrow developed, the more likely it was that he would be devoured by the three supreme supremacies. If nothing goes wrong, he will definitely become a supreme supremacy. Just wait for your reward. After this battle, he might obtain the ability to revive infinitely. Shadow and Ji Xian looked in the same direction. He judged that Knight's sorrow could obtain the secret of unlimited revival from Su Zhiqian. Knight's sorrow naturally didn't know about this. After he left Lu Tian Academy, he found a secluded forest and purified the second floor of the Eternal Divine Tower. Then, he let Little Fool catch up with Little Five and the others. After chatting for a while, Little Five handed over the control of the Eternal Divine Tower to Little Fool. This was a rule they had formed over many years. Little Fool, who had obtained control, asked Knight's sorrow and Little Five about the current situation. He suggested, "It's very difficult to save Big Brother and Third Brother now. Why don't we save Little Four? I know where he is." "Sure. If we can save Little Four, we can combine the 7 floors. We can at least reach the 4th stage of half-step supreme supremacy. If we can prepare an attack, it'll be even more terrifying." After Little Fool finished speaking, Little Seven agreed. Little Five and the others agreed as well. Seeing that they all had the same idea, Knight's sorrow smiled and said, "Little Fool, you lead the way." "Okay. But according to my latest news, he's currently in a large faction in the fog. Based on the current situation in the fog, this faction is very likely to be attacked by very strong students or elders. It won't be easy for us to succeed," Little Fool said at this moment. Now that the fog has become chaotic, it's not easy to determine his location. As long as there's a chance, we'll try our best to take him down. Hearing Little Fool's words, Knight's sorrow immediately expressed his opinion. He knew that in the future battles, it would be impossible to not have a supreme supremacy divine artifact. Now that there was a chance, he had to quickly collect it. "Okay. In that case, I'll control the Eternal Divine Tower and lead the way," Little Fool immediately said when he saw Knight's sorrow's attitude was so certain. "Okay, it just so happens that I have something to do too," Yi Xiang said before entering the Eternal Divine Tower. He began to cultivate the mist breathing technique in the space 10 times larger than usual. After about 30 years, he successfully cultivated the fog breathing technique to the 9th level. He was only 10% away from perfection. Just as he was about to break through the last 10%, Little Fool suddenly transmitted a message, "Knight's sorrow, we're here." "Okay. I'm coming out." With only one more level to go, Knight's sorrow was not in a hurry to cultivate. He directly came out of the Eternal Divine Tower. Looking at the surrounding illusion, Knight's sorrow discovered that he was actually at the bottom of the sea. He immediately asked, "Is our target territory at the bottom of the sea?" "Yes. This is the most special territory. In this territory, everyone is from the Sea Tribe." The waiter explained and continued, "As for the person who attacked them, I don't know who it is. I'll find out about these things. How far are we from the main city of the Sea Tribe?" Knight's sorrow opened his sea serpent's eye and asked. "We're now in the territory of the Sea Tribe. They have 3 main cities, all of which are distributed in the 3 major oceanic trenches. I'm not sure which main city Little Four is in," Little Fool immediately replied. Hearing this, Knight's sorrow nodded and said, "Okay. Then we'll look for them one by one." Then, he began to search at the bottom of the sea. Chapter 3388. After that, Knight's sorrow brought the Eternal Divine Tower and started searching the seabed. However, before he could find the trench, he encountered a team from the Lu Tian Academy. The team was led by 7 or 8 half-step Supreme Realm cultivators and consisted of 2,000 to 3,000 heavenly sovereigns. It was definitely a huge force. If such a powerful team were to attack the Night Demon territory, Jialin and the rest would not be able to defend it without Night Sorrow around. There's a familiar figure. After observing for a while without being discovered, Night Sorrow realized that there was a familiar person in the team from the Lu Tian Academy. He was Elder Ziyun from the Star Hole. When Night Sorrow was fighting with his opponent, he had expressed his goodwill to him. At this moment, he was not standing in the main seat. Instead, he was standing beside a young-looking cultivator. He seemed to be acting as the brains of the team. Their group stopped for a short while before moving in a certain direction under the command of Elder Ziyun. Their aura was very strong. They must be here to defeat the Sea Tribe and occupy the seabed. Their target will definitely be the main city. If we follow them, we should be able to find at least one main city. Looking at Elder Ziyun and the rest from afar, Night Sorrow thought for a while. In the end, he did not go forward to greet them. Instead, he brought the Eternal Divine Tower and quietly followed behind the team. While following them, he kept a safe distance from them, which was the maximum distance that the sea serpents I could see. Night Sorrow. Keep a distance. Be careful of the young cultivator leading the team in front. He gives me a very dangerous feeling. After Yi Shan had followed behind the group for a while, the waiter reminded him. Although the young cultivator in front did not release his godly domain, and his aura did not leak out, he still felt a little shocked. That feeling could not be described with words, but he was wary. Could it be that the cultivator has some special means against divine artifacts? Night Sorrow looked at the cultivator from afar and did not sense any danger. He immediately suspected that the cultivator had some ability to restrain divine artifacts. That might be the case. If we fight, we must be careful. Anyway, I feel very uncomfortable facing him. The same goes for Little 5 and Little 7. The waiter said with lingering fear. He didn't dare to look at the young cultivator again. She suspected that he had some kind of ability that could restrain divine artifacts. Good. If a fight breaks out, I will take you into the Space Grotto Heaven. Oh right, give me the half-step Supreme Stage Grade 3 Divine Weapon. At this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly thought of the Grade 3 Divine Weapon he had obtained from Lin Hai in the Eternal Divine Tower. All right. Little Fool nodded and handed the divine artifact to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow held it in his hand and felt it for a while. It did not feel as close as the Golden Heavenly Halberd and the Desolate War Halberd. He was prepared to find an opportunity to throw it into the Golden Heavenly Halberd and refine it. But now that he was tailing the other party, he definitely could not do that. Thus, he kept the other party into his space paradise. In the following days, Night Sorrow followed behind the main group. Finally, after 2 months, they found the first trench. Very good, we found the trench. I can leave them and bring you to look for the city. If you sense Little 4, inform me immediately. The trench was very long and deep. It was almost boundless. After Night Sorrow discovered it, he distanced himself from Elder Ziyun and the rest. He found a secluded area and sneaked into the trench. He felt that if Elder Ziyun and the rest entered the trench, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. If they fought, he would have an excellent opportunity to sneak into the city and find Little 4's tracks. If he was too close to them, he might be exposed. And the development of the situation was similar to what Night Sorrow had expected. Elder Ziyun and the rest entered the trench with such a huge formation. The Sea Tribe was alerted immediately. Before they could get very far, the half-step leader of the Oceanic Tribe appeared in front of them with countless Oceanic Tribe members. Because Elder Ziyun and the rest were here to conquer the Sea Tribe, both parties did not even exchange a few words before they started fighting. The few half-step supreme stage experts of the Lu Tian Academy were very strong. Especially the young cultivator who led them. He had a very strange treasure bowl in his hand that could suck in all the Sea Tribe's divine weapons. With him showing his power, the Lu Tian Academy quickly gained the upper hand and slaughtered the Sea Tribe members who blocked their way. Then, the Sea Tribe members who came began to summon the other Sea Tribe members in the trench. At this moment, Night Sorrow was not too far away. After realizing that the situation had become chaotic, he said, "Since the situation has become chaotic, we don't have to find our way." Then, he transformed into the Sea Tribe's aura and appearance and captured more than 10 heavenly supremes of the Sea Tribe members. He started interrogating them in the Eternal Divine Tower. Soon, he found out about the 3 main trenches and the 3 main cities of the Sea Tribe. It turned out that this trench was the only way to go to the other 2 trenches. It was usually called the first trench. If one wanted to go to the other 2 trenches, they had to pass through the main city of this trench. Moreover, the 4th level of the Eternal Divine Tower that he wanted to find was not in this trench. Instead, it was in the main city of the 2nd trench. In recent years, the 4th level of the Eternal Divine Tower had been placed in a square in the 2nd main city. It was not difficult to find. However, the difficulty was that the owner of the 4th level was a Sea Tribe expert who was a half-step to the Supreme Realm. If one did not kill him, it would be difficult to sever the connection between the 4th level and the 4th level. However, as an outsider, it was almost impossible for him to kill a level 3 half-step to the Supreme Realm Master in the 2nd Oceanic Trench without anyone noticing. With my half-step to the Supreme Realm strength, can I sneak into the other 2 trenches with my own strength? After asking about Little 4, Night Sorrow continued asking. He felt that although it was not easy to snatch the item, he should at least find it first. Hearing this, one of the Sea Tribe members said, "If you have the identity of a Sea Tribe member, you can pass through at any time. If not, you can only force your way through. With your half-step to the Supreme Realm strength, it's almost impossible to break into the 2nd trench from the 1st trench. Most of the Sea Tribe members in the city have come out to provide support. Even I have no chance of breaking through." Night Sorrow continued asking doubtfully. He could sense that the Sea Tribe was at a disadvantage in the battle now. They would definitely continue to provide support, and by then, the city would be relatively empty. Chapter 3389. In the chaos, you might not even have the chance to break in. At the junction of the 3 trenches, not only are there powerful formations, but there are also half-step Supreme Realm experts guarding it. Unless the Sea Tribe is in danger of being exterminated, they will not fight. The Sea Tribe member captured by Night Sorrow said. In his opinion, the defenses at the junction of the trenches were impregnable and Night Sorrow had no chance to sneak in. Do the Sea Tribe and their formations have any special means to identify people? Night Sorrow continued to ask. He felt that there was a chance to sneak in. After all, now that there were people attacking, the Sea Tribe would definitely be in chaos. As long as there was chaos, many things would be easy to do. The Sea Tribe uses aura to identify friends and foes. The Sea Tribe members have a unique aura of the sea. This is something that other cultivators do not have and cannot detect. A Sea Tribe member rushed to answer. They were now captured and their lives were in Night Sorrow's hands. Naturally, they wanted to perform well. Okay. I understand. It seems that there is still a way to enter the 2nd trench. Night Sorrow heard this and thought for a moment. Then, he refined a Sea Tribe member who had been looking at him coldly and had not spoken a word, into a puppet. He entered the puppet with the Eternal Divine Tower and disguised himself as a Sea Tribe member. He then moved towards the junction of the 1st and 2nd trenches. At this time, most of the Sea Tribe members were flying out in an organized manner. Obviously, they were preparing to support the other Sea Tribe members in the battle. It was not easy for him to move in the opposite direction. If not for Knight Sorrow's outstanding movement technique, he would not have been able to enter the city even after the battle ended. After that, Knight Sorrow used a few hours to reach the junction of the first and second trenches. However, there were people from the second trench constantly appearing in the first trench. Obviously, they had heard about the battle and were here to support. With so many Sea Tribe members swarming out, it was not convenient for him to enter the second trench. Although the junction of the first and second trenches stretched for thousands of miles, it was not possible for him to sneak in while moving in the opposite direction. If he was too conspicuous, he would definitely be exposed. It is chaotic, but they are still organized. It is not easy to sneak in. Hiding the body of the Sea clan, Yi Shang frowned and looked ahead. As the battle in front of them became more and more intense, the number of Sea Tribe members that appeared increased. As for the Oceanic race, their numbers were simply too large. The number of heavenly sovereigns that had appeared had reached tens of thousands. As for earthly sovereigns, there were at least a few million of them. They rushed out from inside and completely occupied the passage. In that case, there was even less of a chance for him to pass. Why don't we go in from another place? From what I can see, the level of the defensive arrays around us isn't low. But we have the power to break it. Once we're done, we'll dig a hole and enter. At that moment, the male hammer of the restriction breaker hammer sent a voice transmission to Knight Sorrow. The Oceanic race had set up a formation in a radius of several million miles to prevent others from entering. Moreover, if one wanted to enter these locations, they would have to break through thousands of miles of stone walls, which was very troublesome. However, for a powerhouse like Knight Sorrow, passing through the stone walls was not too difficult. Alright, let's widen the distance and find a place to enter using this method. After the male hammer finished speaking, Knight Sorrow felt that although this method was a little troublesome, it was the only choice they could make now. After thinking for a moment, he added, "We'll dig a few more passages so that it'll be easier for us to leave. The battle is so intense that it'll be difficult for them to leave their original positions. We have to ensure that we can leave unscathed. And I feel that as long as we can return to the first Oceanic trench, we can leave safely. After all, this place is very wide. However, the second and third Oceanic trenches are a little suffocating." Little Fool said. Just now, everyone had received information about the other two Oceanic trenches from the Oceanic race. They roughly knew what was going on inside. After that, Knight Sorrow took the restriction breaker hammer and flew 2 million miles away, allowing them to start breaking the array. The restriction breaking hammer had done this many times, but this time, it encountered a lot of difficulty. Because the Oceanic race's array was relatively special, it was very difficult for them to break it. Seeing that they could not break it in a short period of time, Knight Sorrow set up a concealment array and used half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage materials to upgrade the Golden Heavenly Halberd. After 7 days and 7 nights of refining, he successfully upgraded the Golden Heavenly Halberd to half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage. Seeing the Golden Heavenly Halberd upgrade, the Desolation War Halberd said enviously, "Boss, do you have any more materials? Why don't you upgrade me too?" Originally, it was a second-grade material and the Golden Heavenly Halberd was a first-grade material. Now that it was surpassed, it was a little uncomfortable. "And I'll give it a try," Desolation said. Knight Sorrow did not refuse. After all, he was sincerely following him and had played a big role in the battle. After thinking for a moment, Knight Sorrow took out some Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold and added it to the Desolation War Halberd. After spending another 7 or 8 days, the Desolation War Halberd was also refined to half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage. At this moment, the Restriction Breaker hammer still had not completely broken the array set up by the Oceanic race. Since he had nothing to do, Knight Sorrow might as well upgrade the Blue Phoenix battle armor to half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage. He had given a lot of extreme flame phoenix gold to his friends. Now, he was using it to upgrade the Desolation War Halberd and Blue Phoenix battle armor. Even if he could successfully purify the remaining extreme flame phoenix gold, it would not be enough to refine a Supreme Realm divine artifact. However, Knight Sorrow did not feel that it was a pity. This was because only by continuously increasing one's strength could one better survive in this chaotic world. This would allow one to obtain more resources. After helping the Golden Heavenly Halberd, Desolation War Halberd, and Blue Phoenix battle armor to avoid the lightning tribulation, they waited for the Restriction Breaker hammer for another 6 days. They had finally broken the Oceanic Race's array. After breaking the array, Knight Hammer smiled and said, "If we also advance to half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage, the time needed to break the array will probably be reduced by 70%. Huh, is that so? In any case, there is still an array to break. Why don't I help you guys complete the upgrade too?" As they spoke, Knight Sorrow used the remaining Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold to help the Restriction Breaker hammer complete the upgrade. Then, they began to dig holes together. After digging for about 6 or 7 days, they finally dug to the other end of the array. While the Restriction Breaker hammer was busy, Knight Sorrow dug a few more holes. As for the Restriction Breaker hammer, it was just as they had said. After advancing to half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage, the speed of breaking the array was much faster. This time, it took less than 7 days to break the array formation. He transmitted his voice to Knight Sorrow. "Knight Sorrow, the array has been broken. Do you want to enter now?" "Okay. I'm coming." Knight Sorrow replied and quickly rushed back to where the Restriction Breaker hammer was. From here, he entered the second oceanic trench. Following the path pointed out by one of the oceanic race, he slowly advanced towards the 4th level of the Eternal Divine Tower. However, just as he approached, he saw a patrol team led by a cultivator at half-step Supreme Realm 3rd stage near the 4th level. Chapter 3390. This patrol team was obviously in charge of guarding the 4th level of the Eternal Divine Tower. Even though the battle had been going on for so many days, they were still here. At this moment, there were still sea tribes from the 2nd and 3rd oceanic trenches rushing towards the battle. Isn't the number of oceanic species too much? There are so many half-step to the Supreme Realm, heavenly sovereigns, and earthly sovereigns. How did the elders and students of Lu Tian Academy manage to hold on for so long? Little 20 was puzzled when he saw so many sea tribes rushing to support them. Logically speaking, with so many sea tribes participating in the battle, no matter how weak they were, the people outside would not be able to handle them. However, they continued to support them, which meant that the battle was not over yet. Maybe there's a super expert among them that the sea tribes can't handle. I suspect that it's that young cultivator. Knight Sorrow speculated as he waited. He was waiting for the number of reinforcements to decrease. When it decreased to a certain extent, he would attack the patrol team. Just like that, half a month's time passed. After another half a month, the number of sea tribes reinforcements from the 3rd oceanic trench finally decreased. At this moment, Knight Sorrow finally swam towards the 4th level of the Eternal Divine Tower. As he approached, the half-step to the Supreme Realm sea tribe leading the patrol team shouted, "What are you doing here instead of fighting? Do you have designs on the demonic tower?" "Yes. I want to take this tower," Knight Sorrow said as he took out his Golden Heavenly Halberd and Baron Thorn Battle Halberd and used Mother of Ice and Fire on the sea tribe. This was one of his more powerful attacks. After using it together with the 99 Words mantra and the Divine Vitality Trap formation, it instantly severely injured the half-step to the Supreme Realm sea tribe. Oh no! Enemy attack! Someone has entered the 2nd oceanic trench. After being severely injured, the sea tribe immediately roared. At the same time, the sea tribe behind him transmitted messages to the others. asking for reinforcements. However, most of the sea tribes had already gone out to fight. There were not many who came to support them. There was only one half-step to the Supreme Realm's sea tribe guarding the third oceanic trench. Knight Sorrow, who was facing them, fought very smoothly with the help of all his divine weapons. In less than an hour, all the sea tribes in front of him were killed. After that, he successfully purified Little Four and combined him with the other parts. When the 7 parts of the Eternal Divine Tower were completed, his cultivation level immediately rose to the 4th stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. He was only 1 and 3 levels away from rank 5 and Supreme rank. Knight Sorrow, after we advanced to the 4th stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, we gained many new abilities. After the combination was completed, Little 7 immediately sent a voice transmission. Oh. What abilities do they have? Knight Sorrow asked curiously. In the past battles, Knight Sorrow had only relied on the Eternal Divine Tower to launch attacks, collect enemies, or accumulate cultivation resources. We can do what the restriction-breaking hammer did just now, and we can do it much faster. Little 7 said proudly. Oh. Are you saying that the current Eternal Divine Tower has the ability to break through formations? Knight Sorrow said as he looked at the small tower floating in front of him. Upon hearing this, Little 7 continued, yes. Furthermore, as long as it's a formation of the 4th grade or below, we can instantly destroy it. Now, if we want to leave this place, we can go in any direction. We actually have such an ability. If I had known, I wouldn't have dug so many holes. As Knight Sorrow spoke, he looked around and released his godly soul power to sense the surroundings. He realized that this place had become an empty city. He suddenly felt that he could do something. Elder Ziyun and the others were like mantises stalking cicadas, while he could be the oriole behind. He could snatch the resources of the sea tribe. With this in mind, Knight Sorrow immediately asked the sea tribe members in the space, do any of you know where the treasure vaults in the 2nd and 3rd oceanic trenches are? Sir, I know. There's no treasure vault in the 2nd oceanic trench. The treasures of the sea tribe, other than some on the Sea King, are all in the 3rd oceanic trench. In addition, can we follow you in the future? As soon as Yi Shang spoke, a member of the ocean race stepped forward. In fact, they had already realized that the territory of the sea tribe would likely be occupied by others after today. They might as well rely on Knight Sorrow directly. All right. On account of your good performance, you can follow me in the future. After this war, the sea tribe will likely cease to exist. I will be harming others by releasing you. Knight Sorrow spoke as he walked towards the 3rd oceanic trench. Hearing this, the dozen or so sea tribe members who were captured hurriedly expressed their gratitude. They were only mediocre heavenly sovereigns in the sea tribe. Under normal circumstances, they should have died in the battle. Unexpectedly, they were captured midway and kept their lives. It was a blessing in disguise. At this time, the guardian of the 3rd oceanic trench had already been killed by Knight Sorrow. Hence, he easily entered the 3rd oceanic trench and found the treasure vault of the sea tribe according to the guidance of his subordinates. The location of the treasure vault of the sea tribe was very secretive. It was in the deepest part of the oceanic trench. One had to endure the pressure of the huge whirlpool and dive hundreds of thousands of miles. After observing the whirlpool for a while, Knight Sorrow looked at the Eternal Divine Tower and said, according to Little 7, it shouldn't be a problem for the Eternal Divine Tower to pass through this whirlpool, right? Little Fool immediately replied, of course. After all, in essence, we are refined from supreme state materials. It's just that we need to combine all of them to activate the supreme state. Facing the pressure of the whirlpool, it's not difficult at all. Okay. Then bring me down. Knight Sorrow said and entered the Eternal Divine Tower. He let Little Fool control the eternal divine tower and bring him down. He seized the time and studied the last word of the 100-word mantra in 10 times the space. However, when the eternal divine tower passed through the whirlpool and arrived in front of the Sea Tribe's treasure vault, he still couldn't figure it out. He immediately gave up on his research and came out of the eternal divine tower. With the help of the eternal divine tower, he successfully broke open the door of the Sea Tribe's treasure vault. He began to collect the treasures inside. In the Sea Tribe's treasure vault, the accumulated resources were not inferior to the Lin clan's. There was also some precious extreme ice mysterious iron. Like the extreme flame phoenix gold, it could be refined into supreme state divine weapons after purification. It was definitely good stuff. After Night Sorrow and the Eternal Divine Tower collected these things, Little Fool immediately asked in confusion, why didn't the experts of the Sea Tribe keep all the resources with them? If they stay in the treasure vault, aren't they waiting for others to harvest them? Hearing this, Night Sorrow asked, do you think it's more likely for a person to die or for an entire tribe to be wiped out? Oh. I understand. If they are placed in the treasure vault, as long as the Sea Tribe isn't attacked, the resources are absolutely safe. Little Fool immediately understood the logic behind it. Chapter 3391. It wasn't that the leader of the sea race, the Sea King, didn't have the ability to collect the items. However, if he brought all the resources of the clan with him, the risk would be too great. It would make people cower in fear. Yes. There aren't many people like us. Night Sorrow said with a smile and continued, now that we have the items, let's leave quickly. Okay. If we wait for them to finish the battle, it won't be easy to leave. The waiter said and kept Night Sorrow, preparing to enter the vortex again. However, at this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly frowned and said, not good. Someone is coming. I'm afraid that the Slaughtering Heaven Academy has completely defeated the sea race. Then, they're heading straight for the treasure vault. No matter how great the losses were on the Slaughtering Heaven Academy's side, the remaining strength was something that Night Sorrow could not resist. He sensed a little and discovered that more than 10 cultivators had arrived. These cultivators were all half-step Supreme Realm. We're stuck here. I'm afraid it won't be easy. The waiter immediately frowned and said. We choose to leave from another direction. You control the Eternal Divine Tower and find a new route. After fusing 7 levels of the Eternal Divine Tower, it could break through all formations below the 4th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. Although the treasure vault was below the vortex, there were also formations around it. However, the level of the formation was at the 4th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm, so it was not enough to restrict the Eternal Divine Tower. Okay. However, the formation of the 4th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm will limit our speed. After saying that, the waiter brought Night Sorrow to a random location in the treasure vault and sneaked in. Once again, he activated his persuasive mode. Using such a method to leave was something that the sea race would never have imagined. Less than 10 breaths after the Eternal Divine Tower left, the subdued Sea King came out of the vortex with more than 10 half-step Supreme Realm experts. And among these dozen or so half-step Supreme Realm experts, there were actually Andrew and Nangong He. It was precisely because of the two of them that the people from the Slaughtering Heaven Academy successfully defeated the sea race. As soon as they came out of the vortex, Nangong He said, Jinghai. The extreme ice black iron of the sea race can be used to forge Supreme Realm divine artifacts. You will be the one to collect it later. In the future, when you advance to the Supreme Realm, you can use it to forge a divine weapon. Thank you for your care, Auntie. Upon hearing this, Jinghai smiled. He was the injured young cultivator with the magical treasure bowl that Yishuan had seen on Night Sorrow. The treasury seems to have been taken by someone else. At this moment, the captured Sea King suddenly spoke. With Andrew and Nangong Lotus present, even a fourth stage half-step Supreme Realm King like him didn't have the ability to resist at all. What? Someone beat him to it. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Hearing this, Nangong's expression immediately changed. With a roar, he released his divine soul to check the treasury. After probing for a bit, she immediately became furious. Sea King. Did you do something to it? No. I've been fighting with you guys all this time, so how could I have the chance to attack the treasury? The Sea King said helplessly. He was a king of the sea. Now that he had been reduced to a prisoner, it was quite pitiful. Auntie. I don't think he was lying. Because my cornucopia senses that there are traces left by others here. At this moment, Jinghai opened his mouth and said. He looked at the wall and said, if I'm not wrong, he left through the wall. Let me check. As soon as Jinghai finished speaking, Elder Purple Cloud summoned a purple cloud mink that was overflowing with spiritual energy. When the purple cloud mink was summoned, it began to distinguish the aura in the treasury. Not long after, it reported to Elder Purple Cloud. The aura here belongs to Night Devil. I've come into contact with Night Devil before. The Purple Cloud Mink remembers his aura. After Elder Purple Cloud received the information from the Purple Cloud Mink, he immediately said in surprise. He had never thought that the aura in the treasury belonged to Night Sorrow. Night Devil. That little bastard not only came out of the Chaos Burial Star region, but he also came to take our resources. He's courting death. Let's chase. Hearing the name Night Devil, Andrew immediately became furious. Originally, he thought that Night Sorrow would definitely die in the Chaos Burial Star region. He didn't expect that not only did he come out, but he also destroyed the Lin family. At this moment, he appeared here to pick up the treasures. Are we going to use this hole he created to chase after him? Hearing Andrew's words, Jinghai immediately asked in confusion. It was obvious that he wasn't willing to use this method to chase after him. Andrew glanced at Jinghai and said, the Extreme Ice Mystic Iron is prepared for you. If you don't want to chase after him, we naturally don't care. I heard that this Night Devil was the first to attack a large family and occupied the territory of the Lin family. The current him can run away, but the temple can't run away. It doesn't matter if he leaves temporarily. Jinghai said confidently. Are you confident in destroying Night Devil? You have to know that Nangong and I won't help you if you attack the people of Lu Tian Academy. Andrew naturally knew what Clearwater meant. He said coldly. Don't worry. Night Devil's territory can't be compared to the sea race at all. I naturally have the confidence to deal with him. There's no need for the two elders to do anything. Jinghai looked at the hole in the wall and said disdainfully, besides, this kind of scoundrel is not magnanimous at all. How can he be a match for me? Jinghai, you can't be careless against this Night Devil. He's the same as you, with the aptitude of the Supreme Realm. In the entire academy, he can be considered a top-notch existence. Seeing that Jinghai was very confident, Nangong he immediately instructed. From her point of view, the fact that Night Sorrow was able to survive after being targeted by them and even achieve something of his own was proof of his luck. And, don't worry. As long as you give me some time, my 10 generals and I will easily wipe out the Night Devil's territory. After Nangong he finished speaking, Jinghai continued to speak confidently. Okay. Then I'll leave the matter of the Sea Race's territory and the Night Devil to you. We'll leave first. Nangong he glanced at Jinghai and continued. At this time, Jinghai continued, I hope Ant can keep the Sea King. Okay. I'll give it to you. After Nangong he handed the Sea King to Jinghai, she looked at Andrew and said, "Let's go." "All right." Andrew nodded and left with Nangong-hee. After the two of them left, Andrew immediately sent a voice transmission. "Who do you think is more likely to advance to the Supreme Realm and become food for the Night Devil?" "I think both of them have a chance. Jing-hai has a higher chance. After all, he's already at the peak of the 3rd grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. Among the younger generation, he's already one of the top few existences. And he has many methods." Nangong-hee judged. "I hope so. I always feel that Jing-hai is a little too proud. This might make him weak." Andrew looked at Nangong-hee and said, "Yes. Yes." Chapter 3392. In Andrew's opinion, compared to Night's Sorrow, Jing-hai was too pretentious. Under normal circumstances, such a pretentious person was not as strong as those who had no taboos. In the end, he would be a breath away. "Don't worry, it's fine. Don't forget that their cultivation bases are completely unequal. Moreover, in the battle against the Lin family, they only had 4 half-step Supreme Realm warriors. On Jinghai's side, not including himself, there were still 10 half-step Supreme Realm warriors. The Night Devil definitely won't be able to withstand it." Nangong Lotus said confidently. Between Night Sorrow and Jinghai, she still favored Jinghai. "I hope so. If it weren't for the rules set by the 3 Supreme Venerables, we wouldn't have attacked the Night Devil directly. I would have killed him long ago. How can the two of us be suppressed by that old thing?" Andrew said with an unhappy expression. He still bore a grudge against the trouble Night Sorrow had brought him. At this moment, Nangong Lotus smiled and said, "What's the hurry? Don't forget, we still have a trump card." "That's true." Andrew smiled and nodded. "Our 2 trump cards will definitely advance to the Supreme Venerable Realm. This is something that Ji Xian can't compare to." "Yes. That's right. So, you can calm down a little. Just watch the show calmly," Nangong Lotus said with a cold expression. While they were talking, Night Sorrow had already left the 3rd trench under the lead of the Eternal Divine Tower. He left in another direction and successfully left the ocean. After leaving the sea, Xiao Air asked, "Night Sorrow, where are we going next?" "There are a few choices. First, we can search for the 3rd floor. Second, we can help Senior Yen find his bones. Third, we can return to the Night Devil territory and distribute the resources to everyone. Among these few things, the last one should have a higher priority." Night Sorrow replied. In his opinion, it was better to distribute the resources of the sea race to everyone first. "Okay. Then I'll control the Eternal Divine Tower and fly toward the Night Devil territory. You can cultivate in 10 times the space." After Xiao Air said this, he flew in the direction of Night Sorrow's territory. At this moment, Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission to Little 7. "Little 7. How's Sujintian?" "Sujintian is still very persistent. According to our settings, in terms of his senses, he has spent 5,000 years in a narrow space. But he has no intention of compromising." Little 7 replied telepathically. "You guys think of another way to get rid of him as soon as possible." The power of Star's power. Night Sorrow had once absorbed Star Ruin milk from the Yanheng clan, so he could use some Star Ruin power. If he could obtain something related to the Star Ruins from Sujitian, his strength would definitely increase greatly. Hearing this, Little 7 immediately replied, "Don't worry. Since we can't trap them, let's release our inner demons." "Alright, you guys hurry up. I'm going to continue practicing the fog breathing technique. When I reach 100% mastery, I will climb the mountain of flames. Then I'll complete the hidden mission." Let's see what rewards I can get. After saying this, Night Sorrow began to cultivate in 10 times the space. He wanted to cultivate the fog breathing technique to the 10th level. Little Seven and the others continued to attack the stubborn Su Jintian under his orders. Under these circumstances, Xiao'er controlled the Eternal Divine Tower and smoothly flew to the center of the Night Devil territory. Friends Gathering City. Yunyi was the one who named this city. It was located in the old nest of the Lin clan. After arriving, Xiao'er sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, are you coming out to meet your friends or continue cultivating? Meet my friends first. Night Sorrow's research on the fog breathing technique was close to success. But he still came out of the Eternal Divine Tower and found Yunyi. Brother Yunyi, please gather everyone together. I have resources to distribute. Oh. Resources. We haven't used up all the resources we got from the Lin clan. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yunyi was a little surprised. He couldn't think of where Night Sorrow could get resources from. Yi Shang looked at the surprised expression on Yunyi's face and said, "Hee, when I was searching for the 4th floor of the Eternal Divine Tower, someone was attacking the Oceanic tribe. I was lucky enough to obtain the treasury of the Oceanic tribe." What? The entire Sea tribe's treasury? Then we're rich. Yunyi exclaimed. He had heard of the Sea tribe and the Sea king. But after his exclamation, Yunyi said worriedly, "But you took all the resources that some people wanted. Will they take revenge on us?" It's possible. No matter what, gather everyone together first. I'm at a critical juncture in my cultivation, so I won't say much. After saying that, Yi Shan returned to the Eternal Divine Tower and continued to cultivate the fog breathing technique. Yunyi followed his instructions and began to gather Xian Nian, Jialin, Hasa, and the others. At this moment, everyone was no different from a feudal lord. They all had their own territories. And the size of their territories wasn't small at all. After receiving the notice, they gathered everyone and rushed to Gathering Friend City using the teleportation portal. While they were rushing, Night Sorrow was completely immersed in his cultivation. In the process of cultivating the fog breathing technique, he seemed to have become one with the fog and gradually became familiar with its aura. Why do I feel that the so-called fog aura is basically slaughter and blood? How did it form? In the process of cultivating, Night Sorrow began to become interested in the nature of the fog. He kept pondering in his mind. As he gained a deeper understanding of the fog, he completely mastered the 10th level of the fog breathing technique. After successfully cultivating the 10th level, what complemented each other was that his understanding and usage of the dense fog aura had become much smoother. He thought to himself, now that I've mastered the fog aura so thoroughly, there shouldn't be anything to be afraid of when I meet the Supreme Exalt's clone. After distributing the resources, I'll head to the Mountain of Flames and climb to the top. I wonder if I'm still considered a newcomer. Just as Night Sorrow was thinking, Little Fool suddenly transmitted his voice, Night Sorrow. Most of your friends have already gathered. Do you want to go out and meet them? Of course I'll go out. Night Sorrow replied and asked, how's the interrogation of Su Zhijian? Although he hasn't given in yet, he shouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. We can feel the change in his mood. Little Fool replied. Very good. You guys continue. Hearing this, Night Sorrow responded with satisfaction and came out of the Eternal Divine Tower. Then, he distributed all kinds of resources to his friends. He armed everyone again. Then, he left the Night Demon territory again and flew to Lu Tian Academy. Chapter 3393. When he arrived at Lu Tian Academy, Night Sorrow immediately flew towards the Mountain of Flames. At this moment, Lu Tian Academy was completely empty. He didn't see a single living person before he arrived at the foot of the mountain of flames. The entire academy has become an empty city. Territories and resources are indeed enough to drive people crazy. Knight Sorrow, who knew that most people had gone to attack the major factions to snatch the corresponding resources, muttered to himself. He stood at the foot of the mountain of flames and activated his spirit power to investigate. He found that the mountain of flames was no different from before, so he started climbing. His current strength was much stronger than when he first entered Lu Tian Academy. The strength of his body was completely different from before. He didn't encounter much of a challenge when he started climbing. He easily reached the peak. However, the pressure of the flames suddenly erupted at this moment. Knight Sorrow originally thought that the test of the mountain of flames was too simple because he reached the peak easily. However, in the blink of an eye, scorching flames emerged from the summit and started burning fiercely. The strength of these flames was far from what the flames below could compare to. He immediately felt as if he was being refined by them. It was extremely uncomfortable. These flames are incredible. What's going on? Do I have to endure these flames to successfully reach the peak? Knight Sorrow thought to himself as he was being burned in the flames. Thinking of this, he took out the hidden mission scroll and checked it. He found that the mission was indeed not completed, which confirmed his thoughts. In the flames, he released his god territory and continued to endure. After Knight Sorrow released his god territory, the feeling of being refined by the flames disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by a strong sense of comfort. It felt as if he was soaking in a hot spring. It was very gentle. You're quite capable. Try an even more powerful flame. At this moment, an old voice suddenly sounded. The surrounding red flames suddenly turned dark green. After the flames turned dark green, the temperature increased by more than 10 times. These dark green flames are indeed very powerful, but they can't stop me. After the flames increased the temperature by so much, Knight Sorrow roared and ignited his Phoenix bloodline and Scale bloodline. He also activated the Traystreams of Battle Mystic technique and the Destruction Mystic ability. After fully activating his status, he was able to resist the terrifying flames. This time, after the dark green flames were resisted, they immediately became gentle, and a comfortable feeling rose up again. Furthermore, being burned by this gentle flame, Knight Sorrow immediately felt that the strength of his body had increased. He could even resist the Netherworld Heavenly Flame. Now, I'll let you experience the might of the Supreme Exalted Bone Flame. Seeing that Knight Sorrow was able to resist the green flames, the old voice spoke again. The power of the Supreme Bone Flame. Could it be Senior Yen's bone fire? Upon hearing the old voice's words, Knight Sorrow began to speculate. What happened later proved that his guess was correct. After the old man finished speaking, the mountain of flames suddenly turned into a huge skeleton. Above his bones, a pale white flame was burning. These flames did not look very strong, but being burned by them, Knight Sorrow immediately felt immense pressure. There was a burning sensation around his body, and he felt like he couldn't hold on any longer. Indeed, anything related to the Supreme Venerables was not simple. Ha ha ha. How is it? You can't hold on any longer, right? Seeing that Knight Sorrow was in great pain, the old voice spoke again. At this time, Knight Sorrow replied, "No, I can't." After speaking, Knight Sorrow activated the green phoenix armor on his body. While using the armor to resist the flames, he let the armor absorb the essence of the flames and was prepared to directly refine it to the 4th stage of the half-step Supreme Venerables. At the same time, he released the power of virtue that was concealed by the fog. After the power of virtue appeared, the aura of the Supreme Bone Flame was greatly isolated. At this time, Knight Sorrow used the 99 True Words technique. It was used to reduce the intensity of the flames and increase his defense. However, even so, Night Sorrow still felt very uncomfortable under the pressure of the Supreme Bone Flame. At this time, he circulated the Leakin Supreme bloodline in his body, allowing it to rapidly heal his injuries. Under the condition of continuous recovery, although Night Sorrow could not withstand the Supreme Bone Flame, he still managed to endure the burning of the Bone Flame. Seeing that Night Sorrow could endure the Supreme Bone Flame, the old voice spoke. The pale voice suddenly spoke, "Well done. I'll count you as a success." As he spoke, he put away the Supreme Bone Flame. He appeared on the mountain peak. However, his face was blurry. Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe and found that the old man's face was still blurry. The aura on his body also seemed to be unfathomable, giving off a mysterious and powerful feeling. He immediately asked in confusion, "You're the Supreme Venerables?" Because the other party was very likely to be the phantom of the Supreme Venerables, he did not address him as Sir. Hearing this, the old man smiled and said, "You don't need to address me as Sir. It makes me feel very good. This is your reward, take it." After speaking, he took out a fragrant green fruit and threw it to Night Sorrow. "What fruit is this?" Night Sorrow, who received the fruit, asked in confusion. "This fruit can allow you to advance to the half-step Supreme Venerables. In addition, I'll also give you the Supreme Bone Flame here. Collect it yourself." After the old man said this, he completely disappeared into the void. "That's it. Why is it different from what I expected?" After the old man disappeared, Night Sorrow was immediately surprised. According to Deputy Dean Ji Xian's words, he would reach the top of the Mountain of Flames and meet the avatar of the Supreme Venerables. He was a little nervous. However, he did not expect the avatar of the Supreme Venerables to take out the reward so easily. In fact, Night Sorrow did not know that the Supreme Venerables did not care about his identity at all. He only cared about whether he had the aptitude to advance to the Supreme Venerables. Now that he had verified that he had the aptitude to advance, he immediately gave him a reward. His purpose was naturally to cultivate him and then devour him to improve his strength. Congratulations, mission completed. Just as Night Sorrow was puzzled, the scroll on his body flew out on its own. It congratulated him. "Thank you." Night Sorrow immediately looked at the scroll with the sea serpent's eye. At this time, a half-meter-long gold leaf suddenly flew out of the scroll. The scroll said, "This is the cultivation method to advance to the Supreme Venerables. It's your reward for completing the hidden mission." The cultivation method to advance to the Supreme Venerables? The reward is actually something so precious. Hearing the sound of the scroll, Night Sorrow was surprised again. He did not expect that the avatar of the Supreme Venerables and the scroll would give him such a good reward. Chapter 3394. Night Sorrow felt that the treatment he received was a little too fake. Supremacy Mia was an extremely cruel person. He was the one who caused the suffering of the people. Now, he was giving away such good resources, cultivation methods, and the Supreme Venerable Bone. This was completely incomprehensible. No matter how he thought about it, it didn't make sense. I think Supremacy Mia wants to cultivate Supreme Venerable Bone. Does he have some ulterior motive? This matter is indeed very strange. Little Fool also transmitted his voice. This matter was simply too bizarre. Supremacy Mia was definitely not a merciful person. When he first appeared, he was not pretentious at all. He casually gave away so many good things. And the behavior of the scroll was exactly the same as Supremacy Mia. When these two things happened at the same time, anyone would feel that something was wrong. As the saying goes, one who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. We have to be more careful with Supremacy Mia. We also need to purify the things in front of us. As Night Sorrow spoke, he took the Eternal Divine Tower and left the Lu Tian Academy. He found a deserted mountain and began to deal with the few things he had obtained. In half a month's time, he purified the green fruit, the golden leaf, and the supreme venerable bone several times with the power of merit. After he felt that there was nothing wrong, he swallowed the fragrant green fruit in the Eternal Divine Tower. This fruit was fragrant. When he ate it, it also had a hint of fragrance. It was not too sweet, but it made his body feel very comfortable. Comfortable. I've never felt like this before when I've taken other elixirs. That comfortable feeling was very enjoyable. Knight Sorrow felt as if he had been reborn. After spending about a year in this state, he felt that his body had been transformed to the extreme. Then, he began to absorb and refine the fruit's medicinal power. As time passed, Knight Sorrow began to get closer and closer to the half-step to Supreme Venerable Bone. In the end, the energy he needed had reached the level of perfection. He only needed a little more comprehension. Just as he was thinking about how to comprehend the half-step to Supreme Venerable Bone, the fruit core he spat out suddenly emitted a strange light. As the light bloomed and entered Knight Sorrow's body, he instantly comprehended the secret of the half-step to Supreme Venerable Bone. He had successfully stepped into it. Did I take a shortcut? Will there be any problems? Little Fool asked in surprise when he saw Knight Sorrow use this method to step into the half-step Supreme Realm. I'm not sure if there will be any problems. However, his strength had indeed increased. Now that I've entered the half-step Paramount Realm, the gap between me and some experts should be closed. Now, all I have to do is wait for my tribulation. Knight Sorrow left the Eternal Divine Tower. Looking at the sky filled with thunderclouds, he immediately felt high-spirited. At this time, although he was worried that extreme destruction supremacy had done something to him, he felt that since he was already here, there was nothing to be afraid of. Then, under the witness of the Eternal Divine Tower, he successfully passed through the lightning tribulation. He had completely advanced to the first grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. I need to consolidate my cultivation. It shouldn't take too long. After that, we will search for the third level. Knight Sorrow sent a voice transmission to the Eternal Divine Tower, then began to stabilize his half-step Paramount Realm cultivation base. He had just stepped into this realm and needed some time to get used to it. Sure. If we can find Little 3, we will be able to advance to the 5th stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. When the time comes, we will have new abilities. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Little 7 immediately said happily. The others were the same. They hoped more than Knight Sorrow that the Eternal Divine Tower could be gathered quickly. After all, when they were combined, they would become a Supreme Realm divine weapon. The Supreme Realm was the limit of the fog area and the Eternal Supreme Realm. It was very impressive. If they succeeded, it would be of great help to Knight Sorrow. Don't worry. I will do my best to reunite you quickly. At this time, Knight Sorrow had just entered the half-step Supreme Realm. He felt that his resonance with heaven and earth was even stronger. In the process of familiarizing himself, he felt that he was beginning to become stronger. After cultivating for a while, he asked, "How is Sujetian's situation?" This Sujetian seems like he can't hold on any longer every time, but he forcefully endured it. He is definitely a tough guy. Little 5 immediately replied. He had always been the one in charge of interrogating Sujetian. However, he had never been able to completely subdue him, which made Little 5 a little unhappy. Think of a way to increase the strength. His star ruins are very useful to me. Knight Sorrow instructed and continued to cultivate. After adapting to his realm, he began to work on the unique skills, secret skills, and divine powers that he had mastered. He changed the Treyströmsa Heaven secret combat technique to the Treyströmsa Heaven secret combat technique. This was achieved by using the power of the star ruins. It increased the power of the Tristrimsa Heaven's secret combat technique by about 40%. In addition, he had also perfected the Ice and Fire Mother-Child Spear. Although there were no major changes, their power had increased. If I fight an ordinary third-stage half-step Supreme Realm now, I might be able to easily crush them. After completely cultivating, Night Sorrow said with a smile. At this moment, he felt comfortable all over. Every breath he took resonated with heaven and earth. This feeling was as if he was about to ascend to immortality. It was very special. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Little Fool smiled and said, "This is only first stage half-step Supreme Realm. When you step into the Supreme Realm, it will be as if you have become one with heaven and earth. That feeling is truly comfortable. It is very beautiful. I look forward to the arrival of this realm. However, even if you can advance to the Supreme Realm, you can't let your guard down. I keep feeling that the three Supreme Realm Supremes don't have any good intentions. They are brewing a conspiracy. The recent chaos in the fog area must have been designed by them. I wonder what they are plotting." Night Sorrow said with a frown. He could feel that the three Supreme Realm Supremes were doing something on purpose, but he was not sure what their intentions were. The truth is indeed not optimistic. Even if you can advance to the Supreme Realm, with Yan Jizuan and Yan Hengshi, you might not be a match for the three Supreme Realm Supremes. The pressure that the three of them give off is too strong. Little Five continued. They already knew that the three Supreme Realm Supremes were in good condition from Yan Hengshi. They did not know what grade they had advanced to. Yan Jizuan had been recuperating, Yan Hengshi was in a soul state, and Night Sorrow had not advanced yet. The gap between him and the three Supreme Realm Supremes was not small at all. Hearing this, Night Sorrow said with a frown, "If only Senior Chongqing was still here. This Su Zhiqian in my body is a target for him to possess." That's right. This guy is so stubborn. He might as well directly possess him and control everything. Little Five said unhappily. He really did not have a good way to deal with Su Zhiqian. At this moment, Night Sorrow still wanted to say something. However, he suddenly received a voice transmission from Jia Lin. After hearing it clearly, Night Sorrow's expression immediately changed. www. Chapter 3395. From Jia Lin's words, Night Sorrow knew that Jinghai was leading 10 half-step to Supreme Realm warlords to attack the Night Demon territory. On Jinghai's side, there were not only 10 warlords. There was also the Sea King and many other members of the Sea clan. In total, they had more than 10,000 heavenly sovereigns. The number of earthly sovereigns was even more than 1,000,000. At this moment, the people from the Night Demon territory were already trapped in Friend City. Relying on the power of the array and a few half-step to Supreme Realm experts, they were barely able to deal with the enemy. The situation was very bad. Jinghai. 10 half-step to Supreme Realm warlords and the Sea King, who is a half-step to Supreme Realm. Jia Lin and the rest will definitely not be able to resist. I have to hurry back. After receiving the news, Night Sorrow told the Eternal Divine Tower about the matter and gave up on his original plan. He stepped on the road back to Friend City. He knew that the reason for all this was because he had taken the resources from the Sea clan's treasury. Naturally, he did not want to implicate his friends. As Night Sorrow was rushing back, Jia Lin, Yun Yi, and the rest were all standing on the tall walls of Friend City. Facing Jinghai's army, they did not have a good way to deal with him. They could not attack at all. Jinghai had also used some means to cut off the transportation device, so that they could not use it to leave. Everyone was trapped in the city, unable to escape. Sigh. Even if Brother Yi returns, it will not be easy to deal with the situation in front of us. Not only is Jinghai unfathomable, but the Sea King is also very terrifying. The other 10 warlords' auras are also very strong. They are suppressing us in all aspects. Xiaolin said helplessly as she looked at the many enemies in front of her. She was a half-step to Supreme Realm's 2nd stage, Yan Hongmei had just advanced to 3rd stage, Qing Bao, and the Sea King were also 3rd stage. As for the 2 half-step to Supreme Realm experts of the Ape Clan, one was a 2nd stage and the other was a 1st stage. Although they did not look bad, compared to Jinghai's people, they were not enough. In addition, the number of heavenly sovereigns and earthly sovereigns that Jinghai led was crushing Friend City. No matter how one looked at it, they had no hope of winning and were in a desperate situation. Unless a miracle happened. At this time, Master Wang Jian said, I believe that as long as Brother Yi can make it back in time, there is hope for everyone. Everyone had encountered many desperate moments, but every time, he was able to lead everyone to safety. I think it should be the same this time. Yes. I hope Brother Yi can come back soon. Yuan Fingxue unconsciously touched her belly. She was obviously pregnant. When everyone was shrouded in a haze. The people from the Clear Sea were also studying how to take down the Night Devil territory with the least amount of losses. From their point of view, victory was already within their grasp. Therefore, how much damage they suffered became the biggest problem. At this moment, Gathering Friend City was clearly protected by a formation, so they had been trying to break the formation. During this process, the 9th General said, Master Jinghai, since we have nothing to do, why don't I go challenge them? He was looking for a half-step leader in the Night Demon territory to engage in a death match. If we kill one of them, they will be less of a threat when the war starts. That's a good idea, but do they dare to accept it? Jinghai sneered as he looked in the direction of Gathering Friend City. From his point of view, these people in front of him were all ant-like existences. Don't worry, Master. A one-on-one battle is the best choice for these people who are surrounded. They will definitely choose to accept the challenge. The 9th General glanced at Gathering Friend City and said confidently. That makes sense. However, in my opinion, you might not be able to gain the upper hand against those people. Jinghai thought for a moment and said, 4th General, you will fight. With your strength as a 3rd stage half-step Supreme Realm, you should be able to crush all the people on the other side. Yes, Master. After the 4th General was called out, he left the formation and went forward to challenge them. The 9th General immediately suffered a blow. At this moment, Jinghai smiled and said, Little 9th, I'm protecting you. When they start fighting, you will find that you are no match for them. Thank you, Master. After being discovered that he was emotional, the 9th General immediately replied in fear. He did not dare to disobey Jinghai at all because Jinghai was too terrifying. That kind of powerful pressure was not inferior to that of the 3 vice-chancellors. Seeing that the 4th General had started to challenge them, everyone on the Night Devil territory side immediately began to discuss how to deal with it. After discussing for a while, they felt that it was better to fight now than to fight after the formation was broken. Therefore, no matter what, they should choose to accept the challenge. After the discussion was more or less over, Yan Hongmei said, The cultivator who is challenging us is a 3rd stage half-step Supreme Realm. Although I have just advanced to 3rd stage not long ago, I have the ability to fight. Let me fight. At this moment, she was considered the strongest person in Gathering Friend City, so she was unwilling to pass on this responsibility. No. Now that you are the strongest person on our side, you can't go out to fight so easily. It's better for me to fight. Qing Bao, who was slightly weaker than Yan Hongmei, said. He was also a 3rd stage half-step Supreme Realm, the same as the 4th General's cultivation. Moreover, he had recently received a large amount of resources from Night Sorrow and his strength had increased. All right. Hearing this, Yan Hongmei replied. She knew that there were more difficult opponents waiting for her, so she had no intention of rushing to fight. Then I'll have to trouble brother Qing Bao. Jiao Lin, who originally wanted to fight, also said. She felt that her strength should be about the same as Qing Bao's, and the difference was not big. Anyone could fight. The others also felt that Qing Bao was more suitable. Finally, Black Bao said something to everyone and flew out of Gathering Friends City, standing in front of the fourth general. He said, "Let me fight you." Ha! Happy death. Seeing Qing Bao fly over, the fourth general sneered with killing intent. You're just a servant, what are you pretending for in front of me? Qing Bao ridiculed disdainfully, then released his own god realm and took out his divine artifact. The fourth general, who was called a servant, immediately flew into a rage. He roared, "Fight in the void." All right, who's afraid of who? Seeing the fourth general fly into the void, Qing Bao immediately followed. Then, a tit-for-tat battle began above. Both sides quickly fought for dozens of rounds, and the result was a tie. At this moment, Elder Purple Cloud walked to Jinghai's side and said, "Lord Jinghai, who do you think will win this battle? Why do I feel that their strength is basically the same? It's simple. When enemies meet on a narrow path, the courageous will win. Their strength is 50-50. Who will win in the end will depend on courage and luck." Elder Purple Cloud said casually as he observed Jinghai. Chapter 3396. After Jinghai said that, Elder Ziyun wanted to say something. He continued, "My 10 generals are the bravest warriors in the world. They won't lose in courage. Where did you get your generals from, Master Jinghai?" Upon hearing Jinghai's words, Elder Ziyun asked in confusion. He had never seen the 10 generals in front of him in Lu Tian Academy. In one of the ruins, I inherited a legacy, and they appeared. Jinghai explained. It was the first time he had revealed this to others. Elder Ziyun exclaimed, "Master Jinghai, you're really lucky. This is definitely a great opportunity for a Supreme Venerable." "Maybe," Jinghai said nonchalantly. In fact, he was very proud of himself. For a genius like him who had cultivated for less than one cycle, it was inevitable that he would be a little vain. While they were talking, the battle between Qing Bao and the fourth general had reached its climax. In the process of the two of them fighting, the divine artifacts actually perished together. They were completely annihilated into dust in the clash. At that moment, they had switched from a battle of techniques and divine weapons to a hand-to-hand fight. They were using this method to fight. It was not just a test of their physical strength, but also their courage. In other words, courage. The fourth battle general clearly did a better job in this area. He was an ice-cold killing machine. Qing Bao, do your best. You have to understand. It's either life or death in this battle. Seeing that Qing Bao was at a disadvantage, Yan Hongmei immediately transmitted her voice anxiously. She understood that the two of them were playing chess. One wrong move and they would lose the whole game. Qing Bao was in a passive position now. He would need strong willpower to turn the tables. So she used life and death to motivate him. "I got it." Hearing Yan Hongmei's words, Qing Bao felt like he had been hit in the head. He immediately understood the cause and effect. In an instant, he completely ignited his bloodline power and fought the fourth general crazily. Gradually, the passive situation was reversed. Ha! How long can you keep igniting your bloodline? When your bloodline is completely ignited, I'll be able to defeat you easily. The fourth general was unable to ignite his bloodline due to his uniqueness. Seeing that Green Leopard's strength had increased so much, he immediately mocked in disdain. "Since you can't keep this up for long, I'll use this time to defeat you." The fourth battle general's words were like a catalyst that once again aroused Qing Bao's endless fighting spirit. Then, he risked everything and attacked the fourth battle general. How did he become so powerful? After the green leopard completely exploded, the fourth battle general quickly realized something was wrong. He realized that he couldn't withstand the green leopard's attack. In terms of strength, the two sides could not match. Soon, he was completely suppressed. In this situation, while the fourth battle general was still as cold as water, he had no power to resist. Good job, Green Leopard. Seeing that Green Leopard had gained the upper hand and was about to win, the master of the Myriad Sword Sect, who had been worried all this while, suddenly roared to vent the emotions in his chest. Following that, everyone from Gathering Friends City cheered. They could already tell that Green Leopard would be able to win very quickly under such an advantageous situation. At this moment, Elder Ziyun said worriedly, "Master Jinghai, it seems like the fourth war general is about to die. What should we do?" Hee. A butterfly can't fly over the sea. At this moment, Jinghai had a disdainful smile on his face. Then, he took out a flute and started playing. Following the sound of the flute, the fourth war general, who had been powerless against Green Leopard, suddenly became like an awakened beast. His strength instantly increased by several times. While being suppressed, he suddenly tore off one of Green Leopard's arms. "Cheating. You're cheating." Seeing that Jinghai's flute allowed the fourth war general to obtain a strange power, Jiao Lin was instantly enraged. Hee. If you have the ability, you can do the same. Hearing Jiao Lin's words, Jinghai responded disdainfully and continued to play the flute. What should we do? They're clearly trying to cheat, but we can't do anything." Knowing that Jinghai was shamelessly trying to cheat, no one could think of a solution. Yun Ye's brows were already furrowed. "There's a way." At this moment, Jiao Lin said and transmitted to Green Leopard, "Brother Green Leopard, admit defeat. Don't throw away your life." "But, I'm not willing. We can clearly win this battle." Green Leopard replied extremely unwillingly. At this moment, he was completely restrained by the fourth war general and was about to be torn apart. "Don't worry so much. I'll take revenge for you." Jiao Lin saw that the situation was not right and had already flown out of the city. At this moment, Green Leopard could only helplessly say in shame, "I admit defeat." Admit defeat. Even if you admit defeat, you'll still die. You have to understand that this is a battle of life and death. Facing Green Leopard who admitted defeat, the fourth war general smiled coldly and prepared to tear him apart. But at this moment, Jiao Lin's attack arrived. The fourth war general angrily shouted, "You're cheating." The others on Jinghai's side were also so angry that they stomped their feet and prepared to attack. But by the time they reacted, Jiao Lin's attack was already close to the fourth war general. Thus, it was too late for them to attack. Under these circumstances, the fourth war general could only give up on Green Leopard and turn to fight Jiao Lin. At this moment, Jiao Lin looked at Jinghai's side and said, "Night Demon Territories Jiao Lin, replace Green Leopard in battle." Then, he started fighting with the fourth war general. Seeing this, Jinghai suppressed the other war generals who wanted to attack and said, "Wait and see, they won't be able to play any tricks. This kind of small advantage doesn't matter." "Okay. My lord." Everyone knew that Green Leopard had temporarily lost the ability to fight, so the fourth war general's mission was basically complete. Thus, they did not care. Although the fourth war general was supported by the clear sea flute and was able to resist Jiao Lin for a while. But in the end, he had used up too much energy. Unable to win, he chose to surrender. His ending was almost exactly the same as Green Leopard's. At the moment of crisis, it was the Third War General who saved him. Otherwise, he would have already died at Jiao Lin's hands. Your strength is not enough, you're not my match at all. After the Third War General appeared, he looked at Jiao Lin with disdain. At this moment, Jiao Lin sneered and said, "Who lives and who dies has not been seen yet." After speaking, she directly activated the green chessboard that she had set up in the void during the battle. After the green chessboard's aura exploded, she flew up into the air and prepared her strongest attack. She prepared to kill the Third War General in one blow. Seeing Jiao Lin like this, Jing Hai's expression changed and he started to think of a countermeasure. He knew that the Third War General who had been hit might not be able to block Jiao Lin's attack. Chapter 3397. Under the circumstances, Jing Hai wanted to use his cheating method again. But after thinking for a while, he could not think of a way. For a moment, his face completely darkened. This doesn't look good. Lord Jing Hai, what should we do? Although Elder Zi Yun's combat power was not top-notch, he was experienced enough. After Jing Hai, he realized that the Third War General was in trouble. Hearing this, Jing Hai said coldly, "If he can survive this attack, we'll save him in the second battle." Isn't that how the other side saves people? All right. Elder Zi Yun nodded. Although he was considered the brains of the Pure Sea Legion, many things were still decided by the Pure Sea Legion. Hongmei, prepare to save me. Meanwhile, Jiao Lin sent a voice transmission to Yan Hongmei as he unleashed his attack in the void. She knew that after using this move, regardless of whether it succeeded or not, she would be completely weakened. Don't worry, I'm ready. Yan Hongmei had already released her godly domain and was ready to move. Good. This way, I can use 100% of my power. Jiao Lin replied and completely transformed into Jiao Lin's body in the void. Then, he summoned countless beetles and scale bugs. He suddenly attacked the Third War General who was bound by the green chessboard. When Jiao Lin's attack landed on the Third War General, there was a huge tremor in the sky. At the same time, Yan Hongmei and the Second War General moved. Although they had not seen the situation of Jiao Lin and the Third War General, they had already started to rescue them. After encountering each other, they did not even have time to see the situation of Jiao Lin and the Third War General before they clashed. After the two of them clashed, they were almost evenly matched. At the same time, they did not even have the chance to check the situation of Jiao Lin and the Third War General before they clashed. They began to fight in the sky. At the same time, the others present could see clearly. Jiao Lin had already exhausted all his power and was lying flat on the ground. The Third War General was also lying on the ground, but there was almost no unscathed spot on his body. Furthermore, he was being eaten by a large number of scale bugs and beetles. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. At the same time, Jing Hai sent a voice transmission to the Second War General. The Third War General is not completely dead. Quickly finish off the woman in front of you. You know what you need to do after this. Yes, my lord. I'm at your service. After the Second War General sent a voice transmission, he roared into the sky. At the same time, he took out a long spear and attacked Yan Hongmei with an ultimate technique. Shadowless Evil Spear. As soon as this ultimate skill was unleashed, countless evil spirits appeared in the void. When the evil spirits appeared, they were not very strong. But at that moment, Jing Hai played the flute again. With the enhancement of the flute's music, the evil spirit's strength instantly increased. Then, they to kill Yan Hongmei. What? How am I supposed to deal with an evil spirit that's half a step into the limitless stage? After these evil spirits increased their strength to half a step to the supreme realm, Yan Hongmei, who had originally been able to fight against the second general, was immediately suppressed. After suppressing Yan Hongmei, the second war general coldly roared and continuously attacked with suppressive attacks. At this moment, Yan Hongmei glanced at Jing Hai, who was playing the flute. Clearly aware that he had greatly strengthened the second battle general, he immediately said angrily, "Everyone behind you will also be slaughtered by us." The second war general provoked Yan Hongmei with his words, but his hands never stopped. He was looking for a chance to kill her directly. At that moment, the pressure that Yan Hongmei felt was incomparably enormous. She knew that there were already half-step Supreme Realm experts in Gathering Friends City who were more powerful than her. If this continued, she would definitely die if Night Sorrow did not return. Looking back at Gathering Friends City's city wall, Yan Hongmei was in complete despair. The city wall's defense had basically been broken, but Night Sorrow was not in Gathering Friends City. He still had not returned. What? Are you in despair? After the second war general took the initiative, he kept attacking her with his words. While Yan Hongmei was in a daze, he pierced her arm with his spear and pulled out a lot of flesh and blood. Yan Hongmei could not raise her left arm after her shoulder was pierced. In this state, her combat strength dropped again. At this moment, Jing Hai transmitted his voice coldly, "The third general is dead. I want you to kill the two women below. The crueler, the better. Avenge the third war general." "Yes, sir." After the second war general received the order, he immediately reduced the strength of his attacks. He no longer aimed to kill Yan Hongmei instantly, but to kill her for fun. Yan Hongmei knew what he was thinking, but she did not have the ability to fight back. Her battle robe had already been cut open by the second war general's spear, and she looked very pathetic. "Bastard! What should we do?" The barbarian king, who was standing on the city wall, roared in anger as he watched Yan Hongmei being tortured. He could only try to send a message to Night Sorrow. However, Yi Shang was probably too far away and didn't respond at all. "We are at an absolute disadvantage and have no chance of winning. Don't forget, the first war general and Jing Hai have not made a move yet." Qing Bao said helplessly as he saw the desperate situation. Yun Yi, Xian Yan, and the others also looked terrible. They were helpless and did not know what to do. Xiao Tianxian, Wan Jianzong, Su Lei, and the others were weaker, so there was nothing they could do. However, their hearts were heavier than everyone else's. After all, almost everyone from the Eternal Supreme World and the Eternal Ancient Desolate World was in Friends City. If Friends City was destroyed today, the two worlds would be destroyed. Only Night Sorrow and the others would be left. Could they still be called two worlds? "Everyone, take care of yourselves. I will try my best to take him down with me." Yan Hongmei suddenly sent a message to everyone and started preparing to self-destruct. She wanted to use her life in exchange for the second war generals to vent her hatred of being tortured. Sigh. The people on the city wall sighed, but no one had a better idea. Their faces were filled with gloom. "You want to self-destruct in exchange for my life? You can't do it now." After the second war general received Jinghai's message and learned that Yan Hongmei wanted to self-destruct, he immediately took out a secret treasure and imprisoned Yan Hongmei's body in the void, putting some distance between them. He also used his long spear to attack again, preparing to end her life. "Bastard, I hate you." In despair, Yan Hongmei's face was as white as paper. She had no way to deal with it. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. "We admit defeat for this round." Whose voice is that? Yan Hongmei heard the voice and was stunned. She was sure that it was not Night Sorrow. www. Chapter 3398. Not only was it not Night Sorrow, but it was also not anyone from Gathering Friends City. It was not them. Then who was this person? What was the use of him appearing in front of her? Under Jing Hai's immense suppression, Yan Hongmei had completely lost her confidence. She glanced at the cultivator who had spoken. She discovered that it was a clean-looking male cultivator. His black hair was tied behind his head. He wore a slightly tattered green robe and held a 5-foot-long green sword in his hand. There was no expression between his brows. He looked neither happy nor sad, but his gaze gave off a feeling of incomparable confidence. Unconsciously, a trace of hope appeared in Yan Hongmei's heart, which had already been in complete despair. This feeling was very subtle. Even she found it miraculous. However, the second war general did not stop his attack at all. He sneered, "Who do you think you are? So what if you surrender?" As he spoke, the long spear in his hand continued to stab at Yan Hongmei, who no longer had the ability to resist. Yan Hongmei had no ability to resist at all. She was in danger of dying at any time. "I'm nothing, but I can do what Jing Hai can do." At this moment, the man who had suddenly appeared put away the sword in his hand and took out a flute to play. As soon as the flute sound appeared, Yan Hongmei discovered that her body was filled with boundless energy. At the same time that she was facing a great threat, she immediately released boundless energy. It looked like she was preparing to self-destruct. Everyone around him was shocked. "Not good. She's going to self-destruct. Quickly dodge." Sensing the change in Yan Hongmei's aura, Jing Hai immediately transmitted a warning to the second war general. In his opinion, Yan Hongmei was already dead. The second war general did not need to take such an attack head-on. He could not accept losing 2 generals in a row. "Yes, sir." After receiving Jing Hai's transmission, the second war general immediately gave up on continuing to attack. He used his movement technique to distance himself from Yan Hongmei. He almost returned to Jing Hai's side. As expected. At this moment, Yan Hongmei revealed a cold smile. Then she recovered from her state of pretending to self-destruct. She took Jiao Lin and flew directly back to Gathering Friends City's city wall. In fact, it was all thanks to the male cultivator that she could pretend to self-destruct so well. He was the one who had instructed Yan Hongmei to do this through voice transmission. He had also used the flute to support her with energy. Otherwise, with her condition, it was impossible for her to do this. When Yan Hongmei brought Jiao Lin back to the city wall, Jing Hai's face turned red. He understood that he had fallen into a trap and was quite angry. There was a long silence. Jing Hai stood up with a cold expression. He looked at the male cultivator who had suddenly arrived and shouted, "Who are you?" At the same time, he began to observe the male cultivator's cultivation and aura. Behind him, Elders Zi Yun and the other generals were also observing this person's condition. Now that the battle had reached this point, they no longer wanted to fight one-on-one. "You can call me Supreme Longevity," the male cultivator said casually. Hearing this, Jing Hai and the others did not react. However, Xiao Tianxian and the people from the 10,000 Swords sect were instantly excited. Master Wang Jian immediately asked, "Senior Longevity, is it really you? You've been resurrected?" "Yes." Supreme Longevity glanced back at the 10,000 Swords sect but did not say much. In reality, his spirit was extremely special. It could be reassembled after death. After he had fallen in the battle on the island, his spirit quickly returned. Moreover, by chance, he had obtained a young body with great potential. Now that he had cultivated to the second stage of half-step Supreme Realm, he was clearly ahead of the people from the 10,000 Swords sect. His cultivation was even higher than Night Sorrow's by a small level. Among the people from the Eternal Supreme Realm, his cultivation was ranked first. Supreme Longevity. Never heard of it. Hearing the name Supreme Longevity, Jing Hai's expression turned cold. He looked at Supreme Longevity and said, "You did well just now. You saved 2 half-step Supreme Realm female cultivators. You did the same." Supreme Longevity said calmly after Jing Hai finished speaking. He was someone who had experienced countless life and death situations. Even in the face of a great battle, his heart was as calm as still water. Right now, Jing Hai's faction had the upper hand, but he did not panic at all. "Ha! But the city's defense formation has been broken. I'm going to kill everyone in the city. How many can you save?" Jing Hai said with a crazed expression. He looked a little crazy. However, after he released his aura, the strength he displayed was indeed extraordinary. Although he was only a 3rd stage half-step Supreme Realm, his aura was definitely around the 4th stage. He was a level higher than Supreme Longevity. "I can save one," Supreme Longevity said confidently after Jing Hai finished speaking. "You can save one." Upon hearing this, Jing Hai was stunned. He did not understand why the other party would say such a thing. "I can save a city," Supreme Longevity said again. He cupped his hands and said, "Please enlighten me." Then, he waved his sword and attacked Jing Hai. According to his judgment, as long as he could take Jing Hai down quickly, Gathering Friends City would be safe today. "You want to take me down and save the city?" Jing Hai immediately saw through Eternal Life's intentions. He sneered and said, "Do you have some kind of misunderstanding about our strength that cannot be dispelled?" As he spoke, he took out his treasure bowl and activated it. Once the treasure bowl was activated, it immediately sucked Supreme Longevity's sword into it. Even though Supreme Longevity had been through hundreds of battles, he was still shocked. He did not expect Jing Hai to have such a trick up his sleeve. After the sword left his hand, Supreme Longevity's brows furrowed. At this moment, Jing Hai waved his hand and said, "Kill them. Leave no one alive. Kill them all. Today, I'm going to massacre the city." "Yes, sir." Upon receiving Jing Hai's order, many of his subordinates rushed toward Gathering Friends City. As for Supreme Longevity and Jing Hai, they flew into the void to fight. Although Supreme Longevity's body was not bad, he was still a small level lower than Jing Hai. Furthermore, Jing Hai could use countless divine weapons, but he could not. Once a divine weapon or secret treasure was taken out, it would be sucked into the treasure bowl and become Jing Hai's. Under such circumstances, even Eternal Life Supreme would be powerless to reverse the situation. He was suppressed by Jing Hai to the point that he could not retaliate. Defeat was only a matter of time. At this moment, Gathering Friends City was quickly defeated by the Clear Ocean Army and the Oceanids. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.